Not an official charity.
Sounds like a petri dish for scammers.
A hard-up couple find a savior on social media.
My dog was having some trouble walking. I needed money to get new contact lenses.
You're two grown adults. You work.
Were they really a worthy cause?
I don't care if anybody gives me any more money. The problem is that she called me a scam artist.
I think you ought to.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Stephanie Reinheimer is suing her former friend, Tara DeFrang, for false claims, libel, and defamation online.
Order. All rise. It's case number 549 on the calendar, the matter of Reinheimer versus DeFrang.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Miss Reinheimer, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a civil servant.
Prior to that, what did you do?
I was unemployed for a couple of months. Prior to that, I worked at the Whole Foods Market.
You're suing the defendant for libel, and it all has to do with some charity something that I'm not getting a full feel for. And Mr. Frank, you say you have a charity.
It's more of a gifting group.
No, I don't know what you mean by a gifting group.
On Facebook, during the holidays, there's often a lot of gifting groups such as this, like my child needs XYZ for whatever presents, this kind of thing. It's not an official charity, but it is a group within Facebook.
Sounds like a petri dish for scammers. A petri dish. Sometimes people well-intended. My child needs a crib. Baby needs a new pair of shoes. Isn't that what the expression is when you play dice?
That's it.
Baby needs a new pair of shoes. It's like a recipe for disaster for me. When you say gifting group, are these people that you know or don't know?
Some of the people I do know, and on the rules of the group that we vet, we vet the people who are requesting whatever they are requesting.
Superheroes.
Whether it be...
What do you do for a living?
I am not employed right now.
When was the last time you were employed?
That was January 1st of this year.
Who were you employed by?
People Incorporated.
What did they do?
They terminated me because I was assaulted by a client.
What do they do, People Incorporated?
They are a human services organization.
And how long did you work for them?
Almost 2 years.
Prior to that, where did you work?
I worked at Supported Living Solutions.
Did you put in a claim for disability from your last job?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Did you hire a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Several.
So now you have this Givers Group charity, and your claim is that the defendant told her Givers Group charity that you were scamming people.
She told him a lot more than that.
And the defendant says that she did, in fact, say to her group, don't give her any more money because she's a scammer. But she said that was true. So did you ask for money from this group or from any group?
I did, yes.
From whom and when?
There was one incident in which I needed money to get new contact lenses. We were supposed to...
Just a second. New contact lenses. When was that?
That was... I have the paperwork here. We had actually intended to buy them all the way back in August of...
Not a we. We don't use contact lenses. That's not a we. You use contact lenses.
Yes, I had intended to purchase them all the way back in August.
I don't care what you intended. You needed contact lenses, so you asked other people to give you money for contact lenses.
Yes. That would have been... It was in December. Yes, that we reached... Yes.
Loopy.
So there was this whole...
I learn something new all the time, right?
There was this whole back and forth with the place where we originally intended to buy them. They had...
Listen,
yeah.
I don't care.
They had never given it to us. They were supposed to refund us. They never did. So we had no money for new lenses. So.
What's a we?
My fiance and I, he was supposed to get glasses too. We never received those as well. So
you're two grown adults. You work. When you need contact lenses, I assume he works.
Yes,
I assume you work. If you need contact lenses, you save up, or otherwise you go to the store and you get glasses to use.
We went to the store.
I'm just curious as to why you would ask perfect strangers to give you money. I mean, it's not as if you were asking somebody because you needed kidney surgery.
Well, it was because
let's move on.
We did need them,
Okay.
but they just
Let's move
never
on.
delivered them. So.
Can I see what you posted?
I can't show you what I posted because she blocked me from the group.
May I see it, please?
And also, she was breaking the rules of this gifting
Don't
group.
tell me what your rules are for this ridiculousness. Well, this doesn't ask for any money. Actually, this is just complaining about this eyeglass, whatever company. This doesn't ask for any money.
This is proof that she was given the money.
Just a second. But her post didn't ask for any money that you just gave me, unless you want to take it and circle where she asked for money. She was just complaining about this company.
And she was, and
No. Just listen. Mr. Frank, do you understand, Bird? Ask her to circle where she's asking for money.
it is not on there, but it is assumed that that is what she wants.
I don't assume anything. Somebody saw that post and said, I'll pay for the glasses. Give me your PayPal information. There was no request for money. So somebody sent you money. How much did this stranger send you?
$60 for contacts.
They sent you $60.
Yes.
Any other money from these people?
From the people for the contacts?
Yes.
No.
When, again, did you request funds from these
My
people?
dog was having some trouble walking.
Dog?
Yes, his back leg was giving him some trouble.
Okay, do you have that post, Mr. Fang? So your dog was having trouble walking, you and your boyfriend?
This is her still active
who I
GoFundMe.
assume lives with you, had a dog, but can't take care of it.
And there are several posts, I'm looking for them now, about her dog allegedly getting attacked by the neighbors.
Oh, this one actually asks for money for your little dog who hurt his back.
Yes.
We don't know what happened. And how much money did you said you needed between $1,600 and $1,700
For the surgery,
how much did somebody send you for that?
Oh, we started a GoFundMe for that. It's still active. It's still ongoing, but we got a
So
total.
you started a GoFundMe page
Yes.
for the surgery.
We raised a total of $110.
Very good. Do you have any vet bills to show me?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see them.
I also have saying that
You're not also. Just show me the vet bill.
Yes. Let's see. That was for the emergency treatment when he got attacked.
Stop talking to yourself.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Stop talking to yourself. Just find me the paper. If you hear the lack of sympathy in my voice, you're astute.
Oh, yes. This is it. And then I had someone offer to help out with that, and I have the conversation that I had with her as well. She did not pay me any funds. She paid the vet directly.
How much?
$300.
Yeah, I see the vet bills. Bird. Thank you. The vet bills that I have here is $300. Somebody paid the vet $300.
Oh,
do you have any other vet?
That was my balance of it.
I just want the vet bills.
That's it. Yes.
Well, somebody paid this vet bill, and then you collect.
Exactly,
Then you
yes.
have speaking, the vet bill was $300. You said somebody paid the vet bill directly because they probably didn't want to be hustled. And you also have a GoFundMe page that has another $100 and some odd in it.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. This is when she contacted. The $300 is what we paid, and then the other person paid. Let's see, $500, I believe. I know.
Listen to me out there. You have nothing to do but sit on Facebook and find places to get sob stories. That's your business. Now, your lawsuit is that she libeled you and she said, don't give her any more money, right?
Well, she libeled me about several things.
In effect, that's what you say. She libeled you. She said, you're a scam artist. Don't give her any more money.
I don't care if anybody gives me any more money. The problem is that she called me a scam artist, and
I think you are, too.
She threatened
I think you are, too.
My dog was injured.
I think you are, too.
He was attacked by a neighbor's dog.
I think you are, too.
We are low-income people, for which
I think you are, too.
We attempted to, have it treated, but the GoFundMe is still ongoing. We haven't raised enough surgery or enough money for the surgery, rather.
You had people give you $600 so far. $600 that you told me about. $110 from the GoFundMe page, and somebody paid at least $500 directly to the vet. And if you're low-income people, you can make an arrangement with the vet to do the surgery, and the vet will say, okay, I'm going to make payments to you. I'll make payments to you. Well, if it's not an emergency, it's not an emergency.
Because we did
just a
discuss
second.
that with
If
them.
it's not an emergency, it's not an emergency. Now, so your lawsuit's dismissed. If she called you, if she said to her,
She posted my work information to tell people to call my place of employment and tell them to try to get me fired.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Yes.
I'd like to see that.
She also posted a picture of my fiance's car.
I don't care. I just want to see where she told people to call your place of employment and tell them to fire you because you're a scam artist. Put your hand down.
Here we go. There we go.
Oh, she says, Stephanie Reinheimer scams. Her employer is on the screenshot. Maybe she's scamming her work like us. Perhaps we should let them know.
And then she posted my work information
So what?
there.
That's Kat. Who is this person?
That's her. That's her online.
That's my Facebook persona.
That's your Facebook? That's not your name.
No, ma'am, it is not.
Why not? How many
Because
different
I have had issues
Just
with...
a second. How many Facebook pages do you have?
One now, ma'am. And the reason for that is because of people like Ms. Reinheimer. On her public Facebook profile is where her employer is.
That is not on my public.
I don't care.
Yes,
I don't care. That's
it
not
is.
defamation. That's not defamation.
But
She
it
says
is a
you're
threat.
No, it isn't a threat at all. She says you're a scammer. I think that she may be right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Other than the eyeglasses, the contact lenses, and the dog, any other time that you ask for money?
No.
That is not true. That is absolutely not true.
Who gives you this money?
And later today,
How many friends is a couple? 2 other friends?
Somebody that we subleased a room to.
One person or more than one person?
It was more than one person, like people that came and went. They're not relevant to the story.
They're relevant to my story.
if you've been diagnosed with miscaptioning, is provided by Real Cases, Real People, Judge Judy.
Stephanie Reinheimer says her former friend, Tara DeFrang, falsely accused her of being an online scammer.
Now, she says you're a scammer. I think that she may be right.
I am not.
I'm not. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I am not.
Oh, yeah.
You are.
And she's saying to her people, listen, she's asking you for money, and it really is uncomfortable that you and your boyfriend have a lot of emergencies. Other than the eyeglasses, the contact lenses, and the dog, any other time that you ask for money?
No.
That is not true. That is absolutely not true.
Eyeglasses, contact, and dog. Any other time that the plaintiff solicited money from your group?
Mainly for her dog, but not proven.
Who gives you this money?
People that I know, very kind people that I have met through Facebook and in person. They are wonderful people, some of them.
You're unemployed now. Unemployed because your disability's not come through yet.
Correct.
And why do you think at your age and stage that you should be receiving disability?
It is not disability. It is an employment case for wrongful termination. Because
Oh, just a second. That you didn't tell me. You told me that you left your last job because you were attacked by somebody.
By a client, yes.
By a client, and that's why you left. I said, did you apply for disability? You said yes. Do you have a lawyer? You said yes. Several. But what you have now is what you're telling me. You have a claim against the company.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Tell you what, I'm not interested in either one of you. Actually, she's allowed to say you're a scam artist because that's her opinion. I'm not sure I disagree with her, but I'm not sure she's kosher either. So we're done. We're finished. Goodbye. Fair warning out there. If you work hard for your money and somebody tugs at your heartstrings, make sure you know they're legitimate. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I am not a scam artist. Neither is my fiance.
Sage is indeed a scam artist.
I sent her free vintage comic books over the Christmas holiday, and this is how she thanks me.
Those things looked like she dragged them out of the trash, and if she would like them back, I would be more than willing to send them back to her.
And And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Fields versus Kyle. Step forward.
Antoinette Fields is suing her ex-mother-in-law, Vitra Kyle, for an unpaid loan to buy a car and emotional distress.
Miss Fields, this is your former mother-in-law.
Yes, ma'am.
It's Kyle. And you were married to her son for how long?
We were married for 3 years. We were together for 11 altogether.
And you have 4 children?
Yes.
His children?
Yes.
Her grandchildren?
Yes.
What does your former husband do for a living?
He drives a dumpster truck for the city.
Does he pay child support?
No, I didn't want any child support.
Why?
We have joint custody. He was an awesome father.
Okay. Is he still an awesome father?
Yes.
Good. And he has the children part of the time, and you have the children the other part of the time?
Yes.
Great. Do you work?
Yes.
For whom?
I drive for Lyft.
Do you work?
Not right now.
Your car broke down.
Yes, it died. Yes, ma'am.
You needed another car.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
When your car died, you needed a new car.
Mm-hmm.
That's your son. He's an awesome father. He shares custody of the children, which is perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She used to work more jobs than she did, but that's what it was.
She used to work more jobs
yes,
than she did.
She's a
so she worked more jobs
than that one.
Yeah,
but
because she has to support 4 children.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Antoinette Fields is suing her ex-mother-in-law, Vitra Kyle, for an unpaid loan to buy a car and emotional distress.
Now, did you ask your son for money?
Yes, he didn't have the amount that I needed.
Did he give you any?
No.
How much did you need?
$1,500 for the down payment.
Your former daughter-in-law gave you the money?
Yes, she gave it to me, yes, ma'am.
Did you ask her in person, or did you ask her over the phone?
We were on the phone. I was talking to her about basically my old van dying, and we were talking about it over the phone. It just started as a conversation, and I was very stressed out about it.
How do you support yourself?
Right now, I'm unemployment. I just was let go after 6 years from the previous job I was at.
Your former daughter-in-law works hard. She has a job. She has 4 children. Mm-hmm. Sounds like a very stable, reasonable person. She has 4 children with your son. She has shared custody. They each take care of their children when the children are with them. I suppose that's how it works.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that how it works, sir?
Yes.
Sounds perfect. Why didn't you give her back the money?
It was a gift, or she just said I could have it, or she offered it to me because we needed the payment to keep what our arrangements were as far as me. I'll keep the kids a lot.
I object.
Okay. She used to work more jobs than she did, but that's what it was.
She used to work more jobs than she did.
She's a workaholic.
So she worked more jobs
than that one.
Yeah,
but
because she has to support 4 children.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, if you need a car, buy one.
Right.
And if you take money from the mother of your grandchildren, pay it back.
Right. I was trying to do that, but I lost my job a month after I got the car.
Fine. Then say, I know I owe her this money, and I'm going to try to pay her back as soon as either I get a job or pay her $10 a week from my unemployment or whatever. Don't say it's a gift and I don't have to pay her back, because that's what you wrote.
Okay.
Because it's more reasonable to say, I understand. She worked 1 job, she worked 2 jobs. Yeah. My son works. He didn't have extra money. It's nice not to work. Then you don't need a car. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. We're done. Thank you, Judge.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm not upset about it or anything.
I'm very pleased.
I wasn't expecting to lose my job a month after I got my car.
I didn't want to have to get it to this point, but you got to pay up what you owe.
We just figure everything out, move forward, and get past it.
I guess only time will tell. It's either get down or lay down.
Hopefully become a full family again.
I'm not loaning out any more money.
Now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Redinger versus Payne. Step forward.
Rebecca Redinger is suing painter William Payne for damage to the interior of her home.
Ms. Redinger, what you want is your money back for painting work that the defendant did for you in your home. When did he do the work?
In November of 2017.
And you had a contract?
Yes, we had a contract.
I'd like to see it.
You want me to give you the contract or him?
Yes, it's your case. Okay. You have to give me the contract.
Wasn't sure.
I've got one, ma'am.
Don't help me. I don't need help.
Okay.
Total estimated budget was $3,800, and it described the scope of the work. This is unsigned. Does anyone have a signed copy?
I don't think we ever signed a copy, an actual copy.
Yes, ma'am, we did sign the copy, and I left it with her as I normally do with all my customers.
I have the final bill, though, that shows the increased add-ons.
You both agree that this is the contract?
If I could see it, I would.
It's a contract she provided.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the contract. And what you've handed me now is an ultimate invoice because the work that was originally contemplated in this contract was extended by you.
Correct.
To do other things.
Yes.
So the original quote was $3,800. And on January of 2018, this was the final invoice?
Correct.
Ma'am, that was a different date.
What was the date?
The final invoice was actually in November of 2017.
That's the final invoice that says final bill that he sent to me on
January.
that date.
That's one that I changed the date for her to be able to use on her taxes of that year. She came to me wanting me to change the date from where we originally did it to a different date so she could use it on her taxes instead of the year before.
He didn't make that up.
That's the final
just a
tax
second.
bill.
Just a second. He didn't make that up. Do you understand something? He just acknowledged a conspiracy to commit tax fraud. So he didn't make that up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It is literally melting off the walls and puddling.
But if she cleaned it with something that
That's not
causes the paint to peel off, there's nothing I can do about it, Your Honor.
There is no question that some of that job is sloppy.
No, ma'am.
It was sloppy.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Rebecca Redinger says painter William Payne damaged the interior of her home when he painted it.
I'm telling you, nobody stands there and acknowledges the commission of tax fraud unless there's a reason.
It's for tax purposes, correct?
It was for tax purposes. Yeah. You asked him to put it in the next year. That you asked him, instead of the bill being in November, to put it in the first of the year. Okay, but the work was completed November 19th?
Yes, ma'am.
And that went beyond the scope of the original job?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
Now we're 2 years later. You paid him for the work. Now 2 years later, you're complaining that the work was sloppy and you want all your money back. You know that that's not going to happen. And I'm telling you that that's not going to happen unless all the paint peeled off all the walls.
The paint did peel off the walls, bubbled up.
No. Unless the paint peeled off all the walls, which you'll show me, and I don't want to see little tiny pictures. I want to see a paint job in a house where it doesn't look like it's been painted. Fine.
We have
Let
a
me
video
see.
for that.
Great. I'd like to see it. When was this taken? What month?
It was taken just prior to us coming here.
So it was taken 2 years later.
Well, I've got pictures throughout, but yes, this video for today was taken the other day before we came.
Ma'am, I'm not aware of any videos.
Showing, he has all of these pictures.
I don't.
This is showing an upstairs hallway door. So there was 5 doors total that are original wood and trim to the home.
Do me a favor.
Oh, you don't want me to tell you about it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Got it. Next. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
That's the bathroom floor that's covered in paint spatter.
Covered in
the
what?
paint that's literally melting off the walls. So you asked if it's peeling. It's melting. That's puddles. 2 weeks after I'd already cleaned the top of that trim. It is literally melting off the walls and puddling.
But if she cleaned it with something that
that's not
causes the paint to peel off, there's nothing I can do about it, Your Honor.
There is no question that some of that job is sloppy.
No, ma'am. There is no question
I have
that it was
text
not
messages.
sloppy.
Just a second. Well, what I saw was not properly mask taped so that it was sloppy.
Yes, ma'am. Some places were sloppy.
That's what. Just a second.
But things were already done before we were there.
That's not true.
Don't speak. Listen to me.
Yes,
I'm speaking to him. Don't speak.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There are still a couple of things I need help with.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not a question.
Oh, I'm
reading
sorry.
something.
I'm sorry.
How much would you charge?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't ask you a question. You're annoying.
I'm sorry.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Rebecca Redinger says painter William Payne damaged the interior of her home when he painted it.
Is what you're telling me that what she's showing me is not work that you did?
Some of that is not things that we did, Your Honor.
Let's start the tape again, please.
Some of those things.
Sorry. Just a second. You're going to tell me what it is that she has shown me on this video. This looks as if the door was closed before the paint was dry.
Yes, ma'am. That's what it looks like. But we did not close the doors before the paint was dry. The doors were left open.
Just a second. Now, what is that?
That is where on the top of that door.
No. I'm asking.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I didn't ask you. What is that, sir?
I have no idea.
Now you can tell me. What is that?
That is one of the doors where it was closed, and the paint actually pulled the wood and the paint off of the door and the trim, so it literally separated, and that whole strip down there,
now,
gone.
Sir, that's messy, you see. Do you see what I mean on the doorknob?
Yes, ma'am, but we did not do that.
Just a second. And there?
Yes, ma'am, we did not do that.
Well, you didn't paint that room? Don't speak. You didn't paint that door?
We painted the door, Your Honor. We did not paint the doorknob. Some of the painting in her house had already been done before we ever came there.
That door was never
did it
white.
herself, her family and her, and this was the story she told me from the very first day I went, that her and her family had painted this house and taken care of this house for years. When I went to her home, things were sloppy already. I did not contract to clean up the mess that was already there at the house. And I have texts from her multiple times saying that the walls were happy, that she liked everything we did.
I don't speak.
And that everything, according to her text, her exact words was, "It is gorgeous. I don't even like to go anywhere else."
On what date?
This is on Monday, November the 27th of 2017.
May I see it, please?
Sure.
Can I get a copy of that too, please?
You have the text of it.
Well, this is the end of November, after he had finished painting. There is still a couple of things I need help with.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not a question.
Oh, I'm
reading
sorry.
something.
I'm sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Bill, there are still a couple of things I need help with. I need the kitchen faucet replaced and the hinges on the bathroom cabinet and a handrail installed. There are a few electrical outlets that didn't get the covers put back on, and my closet door was not painted. How much would you charge?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't ask you a question. You're annoying.
I'm sorry.
And he says, you're talking about the handrail for the stairs. You say yes. How much would you charge to finish those things? Mr. Reno will be done for now once I get these last few things done. It is gorgeous. I don't even like to go anywhere else. That's what you said to him.
That's in regard to the color on the walls and the cheeriness and brightfulness. It went from a dark metal gray to the red. And I was asking him to install...
This is after he did all. This is after he did all the painting.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. You don't get any money back. I'm sorry, but don't recommend him again if you don't like him. We're done. Thank you. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
When things started really appearing to fall to pieces, I made myself available.
Well, I'm glad it's over with. It was a big ordeal that was made into something that was not.
2 times, waited for him. He didn't show up. He didn't call. He didn't text.
Because I did go twice to her home and talk to her and walk through and look at the things she wanted done.
I've talked about doing a walkthrough with him. I think it was 11 times between text and emails.
But every time I tried to come back, she told me no. She was either tired, she was sick.
Talking about the things that were wrong and him promising 14 times.
She was busy, blah, blah, blah. And that went on for many, many, many weeks.
I'll fix it, we'll fix it, we'll fix it. And then just never showing up.
I went out of my way to try to do something for her and to help her out.
But then it just got too big for me to handle.
And she just wanted to take advantage of me. And I'm glad Judge Judy saw through that.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Romero versus McConnell. Step forward.
Mechanic Stephen Romero is suing his former business partners, tow truck company owners Darren and Stacy McConnell, for the return or value of his tools, as well as 4 vehicles.
Mr. McConnell, I'm going to start with you. You have a towing business.
Yes.
And you have a tow yard where
Yes.
you keep the cars that you've towed. How big is the tow yard?
It can hold about 150 cars.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Romero has some vehicles and tools that are on your property in the tow yard.
Yes.
And my understanding was that you had sort of an arrangement that he could use some of the property for storing his cars, and he worked on those cars because he's a mechanic, and that he took care of some of your cars.
Yes. Tried to.
Well, try to. You weren't satisfied with his work. Any event, right now he has some stored cars on your property. How many?
3.
Is that right?
No.
How many do you have?
4.
What 4 cars do you have on his property?
397 Jeeps?
397 Jeeps. You use them for parts?
No.
You use them to what?
One of them was wrecked, and I was repairing that one. I was using parts from another one to put another one together.
Another one, and is that part of the 3?
Yes.
What's the 4th car that you have?
Mercury Sable, 2004.
So that there are 4 cars. 3 pieces of Jeeps and 1 Mercury Sable.
Yes.
You also have his tools.
No.
Yeah. You say you had his tools.
No.
You gave him back his tools?
No. He took them back.
When?
I don't remember the exact date, but my driver was at the yard. It was a lady, hopped the fence and took his tools.
Who was there when he took his tools? Your name?
Ricardo Carter.
Mr. Romero was ultimately locked out of the tow yard, correct?
I was too.
By whom?
Somebody else.
Somebody else who was a landlord or a partner?
Yes, landlord.
Is that because you didn't pay rent?
No, because of his activities.
What kind of activities?
Ask him.
What kind of activities?
I don't know how he was locked out if he had a key to get in.
No. What kind of activities?
His late night activities.
At the tow yard?
Yes, he's the only mechanic I know that works with a light on his forehead. It's just crazy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's one of the 3 Jeeps that you want?
Yes.
Well, it's not yours if you didn't pay for it.
I paid him $100. That was the deal. I was to drive it for about a month and then sell it, and I gave him $500 after selling it.
I don't believe you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Mechanic Stephen Romero says former business partners Darren and Stacy McConnell won't return his tools or 4 of his vehicles. The defendants are countersuing for dolly repairs and a green Jeep.
Now, are you all straightened out with the landlord?
Yes. I'm moving
Because
out.
You're moving out.
I have to.
When are you moving?
I'm in the process now. Takes a while to move a bunch of cars.
Yes, but the 4 cars, the 3 pieces of Jeeps and the 1 Mercury Sable are there.
Yes.
Now, so we're going to keep this simple. Were you there when he got his tools? That's
Some
either a
of them,
yes or
yes.
some of what?
When I saw him throw over the fence that he took out of the Suburban.
He took them,
Out of a Suburban. That's where he stored his tools at, in the Suburban in the yard.
and you saw that?
Yes.
Have a seat. Now, in order to get his 4 cars, 3 pieces of Jeeps and the Mercury Sable, what do you claim he owes you?
He did owe me $900. It's went up since then, storage fees.
He owed you for what? That's what I couldn't understand.
Okay.
You said when he pays me the money he owes me, he can get cars. I don't see that where you say he owes you any money.
In my evidence, there's pictures of a dolly that got broken. Mr. Romero asked me to do him a favor and told one of the Jeeps there, but they're 4x4, so you have to use dollies to get both the wheels, all the wheels off the ground. And I told him, I said, my back was messed up there and I couldn't do it. He begged me to do it. And I told him, I said, you're going to deal with the dollies, putting them on and taking them off. You need to do it right. He said, okay. That was the agreement. Well, we did it. The next day, I went to do a tow for a friend of mine, and the dolly flew off. He didn't put it back right.
What's next? What do you think he owes you? What's next?
He owes me for the dollies.
What's next?
And the green Jeep.
The green Jeep. Tell me about the green Jeep.
The green Jeep was originally...
Is that one of the cars that you're talking about?
It was never his car. It was originally my car. He was supposed to purchase it from me.
For how much? It's not an answer.
$500. He was either going to give me $500 or he was going to fix it and drive it, and then we're going to sell it for more. But he never fixed it, so he owes me $500.
Is that the Jeep that you removed a motor from?
No.
What did you remove from the green Jeep?
Nothing.
Nothing. So it sits there.
Yeah, as far as I know, yes.
And it's one of the 3 Jeeps that you want?
Yes.
Well, it's not yours if you didn't pay for it.
I paid him $100. That was the deal. I was driving for about a month and then sell it, and I gave him $500 after selling it.
I don't believe you.
Not true.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Mr. McConnell, are you moving the green Jeep?
Yes.
Good. He's not picking up the green Jeep. You never gave him a title to it, did you?
No, I have the pink slip here.
No, so he's not picking up the green Jeep. He's picking up 3 cars, 2 Jeeps and 1 Sable.
Yes.
He's picking up, with the help of a marshal, we'll give you an order that somebody will come, 2 Jeeps.
Yes.
Not the green one.
And why is that?
Because they're his.
Not anymore.
Yeah, they're his. I'm saying they're his. That's why we're here. 2 Jeeps, 1 Sable. I'll give you an order. Go pick them up within 5 days from today. Do you understand?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. We'll get you an order. We're done.
Man, what about my tools?
We're done.
Step out. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, the whole deal was that he done work for me for one space.
I was working on one of his tow trucks.
All these other cars, he just left them, abandoned them there. And
after 3 days, I told him I can't fix it.
He never actually completed any work.
I get to the dealership. He didn't like that.
He tried. He did more breaking than fixing.
To my knowledge, I didn't break anything.
So I'm better off.
I just have to get more tools. I mean, I have to start over.
A first-time landlord.
Did you try to lock him out?
Yes.
Without evicting him?
And her last tenant ever?
That's the girl stealing my necklace. This is him knocking over my security cameras so that he can steal more from me. Look at how violent he is.
The look of it is that you were stealing her property and damaging her property, sir.
Can I explain that video?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Lisa Delano is suing her former tenant, Michael Murphy, for property he either damaged or stole.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 245 on the calendar in the matter of Delano versus Murphy.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Party's been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Delano, you have a townhouse and you rented a room in that townhouse, according to the complaint that I read to the defendant.
Yes.
Turns out that you were not satisfied with him as a tenant and claim he owes you a whole lot of money. He owes you money, you say, for theft of property and damage to your property.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy says that you actually harassed him and he has a counterclaim. When did you rent the room to him?
End of September of 2017.
Had you had that room rented before?
No.
This was your first time being a landlord?
Yes, I had just moved in.
Had you ever had a roommate in any other residence?
No.
Kind of hard to take on a roommate at a certain point in your life.
I just got divorced.
It's kind of hard to have a roommate before you're divorced. After you're divorced, taking on a strange roommate that you don't know is even harder.
Yes, it was.
Did Mr. Murphy sign a lease?
No, he would not. I bought the lease, left it, and he would not sign.
So he didn't sign it?
No.
So he was a month-to-month tenant. And how long did he stay?
The end of June, the very last day of June of 2018.
So far, is that correct, Mr. Murphy?
Pretty much.
And what was your rent, sir?
$500 a month.
And in September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, did you pay rent?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
No.
Which month did he not pay?
He stopped paying, I do believe, in March.
Did he pay by...
And it was $600 a month, including utilities.
Did you pay by check or cash?
I always paid by cash.
Where did you get the cash from?
The bank.
So you would make withdrawals from the bank?
Correct.
So at the beginning of each month, there would be a withdrawal for the $500?
Correct.
So, Mr. Murphy, you moved in September 2017.
Yeah, like the middle of September, yeah.
And you moved out on what date?
I believe it was like the 31st According to my text messages of May.
So we should have rent for October, November, December, January, February, March, April, at least 7 or 8 months.
Yes.
Okay. And you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'd like to take a look at it. So on April 17th, and this would be 2018, I don't see any withdrawal for $500. Isn't this
On
batch?
April's, my buddy helped me out because I had truck problems, but I have all the other months.
February 27th, I have a $500 withdrawal. On the 18th of January, I have a $500 withdrawal. Well, then I have 2 withdrawals, one for $300 on the 29th of December and one on January 2nd for $200. And that was for 1 month. I'm not sure. If you moved in the middle of the month, you were probably paying your rent at the middle of the month. You certainly weren't prepaying your rent on the 17th of the month for the next month.
I pulled the money out.
1, 2, 3 months, 4 months. This is October, 5 months. And here again we have on the 29th and the 1st, 2 different payments. So I have 6 months, 7. So we're missing 1 month.
Correct.
Okay. Property damage. Miss Delano, tell me when you experienced property damage caused by Mr. Murphy.
Starting... I also have a video of him damaging my property as well. There's video of him doing all kinds of damage to my security cameras, which has managed to break. Both of them, I have receipts for them, and he's knocked them down. And
okay, so that's the property damage that you're talking about?
No. All my doors. He kicked in the 2 front doors, which were just put in the day before. He damaged all the deadbolt locks on the doors. I have police reports here stating that he damaged the deadbolts that they said he damaged them, and all the frames of all the doors.
Did you try to lock him out, Miss Delano?
He was caught stealing from me.
Just a second. Were you trying to lock him out?
He was caught, yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Without evicting him?
Yes. I was told by the police department.
You can't tell me what the police department told you.
Okay.
That's hearsay, and I don't believe it.
I understand.
Just so that you know, once you have a tenant, if you're having problems with the tenant, you have to go through an eviction process. You can't just change the doors and the locks. You can't resort to self-help. And it's not something that the police would ever tell you. If you said, I have a tenant that I want out, who's paying their rent, they would never say to you, change the locks on them. They just wouldn't do it.
Right.
Okay. Now, I'll see your video.
It shows how much damage he was doing and the violence and he was bringing in. My business was in my house, and he was not allowed to bring in any people at all because
you have to evict him.
That's the girl stealing my necklace that he went in my bedroom and got, apparently, according to the paperwork here. That's the girl that was stealing my bank statements with him. That's her taking a bag full of my stuff, leather and hardware. That's my studio. And see how heavy the bag is? It's filled with a lot of heavy belts, buckles, and stuff like that. Bringing in people that are scary that nobody's allowed in my house at all because of my business, and that is not even a girl or a guy. I don't know what that is. This is him knocking over my security cameras so that he can steal more from me. Look at how violent he is. He's vicious. Look at him. Look, see? That's what he did every day to my cameras. He's finally busted them. And the guy that's walking out the door also has some of my stolen property that he took out of my office.
I haven't.
Belts. I'm wearing both my leather belts. He's probably wearing one of my belts right now. There goes my pool stick out the door.
That's not funny. That's not funny. I'm not amused.
It's not funny.
Well, then why did you appear to be enjoying it?
I'm not.
I mean, the look of it is that you were stealing her property and damaging her property, sir. That's what it looks like. To me, that's what it looks like. Actually, that's also what it looks like to everybody out there watching, including Officer Byrd. So why would you think that that's amusing?
I'm not laughing at all.
Good.
I'm actually...
You're responsible for all of that.
Can I explain that video? The first person in that video is not even me. And that last one is me when I'm moving out of the apartment.
Are you telling me that the person that I saw trying to break the security cameras wasn't you?
No, that's me turning the camera. That's me turning the camera. Absolutely.
Where was your room?
3rd floor.
And who were those women that you had in the house with jewelry?
That's not me in that first video.
I'd like to take a look at it. Can I see it again?
Sure.
Well, it wasn't her, and you're the only 2 people that live there. So if she didn't bring somebody in, that means somebody...
Yeah, there were no girls, nobody was allowed in my house.
One more.
Looks like you to me.
I mean, it is. Okay. I'm not taking anything from her.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Oh, it was wonderful because everything he said was wrong.
She got evicted from that place because she harassed me so much and she called the police so much.
He was stealing from me. He was stealing all my men's leather belts that I custom made.
She threw all my stuff out on the front lawn when she illegally evicted me.
No more roommates. Don't ever have a roommate.
I left the state because she's harassed me so much.
That's all I gotta say. Cats.
If you can't afford the children you have, what'd you have another child for?
A father shortchanges his obligations.
Is Mr. Valenzuela current in his child support?
No.
How much delinquent is he?
I believe it's approximately $44,000.
And mom can't pry loose a penny.
They can't garnish because he works under the table.
I would be furious with him.
I am.
For a redhead, you're not showing the fury, but I would be furious with him.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Stacy Fox is suing her daughter's father, Joseph Valenzuela, for his share of an annual pass to Disneyland and the cost of car parts.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 358 on the calendar in the matter of Fox versus Valenzuela. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Fox, you and Mr. Valenzuela have a child together who appears to be about 16 or 17 years old. Is that right?
She's almost 17.
And you haven't been together with the defendant since, according to your complaint, the child was 3. So you've been apart for a long time. You have remarried.
Yes.
And you have other children.
Yes, 3 more.
How old are they?
One that just turned 1. I have one that's 7 and one that just turned 11.
And Miss Fox, is the defendant currently under a child support order?
Yes.
How much?
$410 per month.
And is Mr. Valenzuela current in his child support?
No.
How much delinquent is he?
I believe it's approximately $44,000.
Explain that to me, sir. Explain that to me.
Oh, okay. I fell behind. I actually did some time in jail from some mistakes that I made. So I fell behind there.
When?
2007.
For how long?
I did a few months.
Don't look
2 months.
her.
2 months, 3 months.
2 months, 3 months. It does not 44,000 make.
No, absolutely not. And then when the child support was based, it was based off a certain income. And then I went jobless for a while, and then I went with another job to where they were taking so much of my check. While I was with her, I was only making $200 every 2 weeks. And so it slowly,
So what
started.
did you have another child for?
We already had a child at the time.
No, what did you have another child for? Who's 1? You have one who's 7, one who's 11, you have one who's 1. So I said to you, if you can't afford the children you have, what'd you have another child for?
All my children are taken care of.
No, this one is not.
She is very well taken care of.
No, she's not by you. Not if you're $44,000 in arrears in child support, Mr. Valenzuela.
Okay.
If you know you have certain responsibilities, then you say, this is what I earn, this is what I can earn. I have 3 children, one who's 16 years old. I have 2 children, 2 nice children, one who's 7 and 11. You don't take on another responsibility of another child if you already have 3 and you're not taking care of one of them. You. And $44,000 in arrears is unacceptable. If Miss Fox said to me it was $600 in arrears, great, that I can understand. But $44,000 in arrears on a $400 a month child support order is a lot of money. And it's really outrageous, and you deserve to be dressed down for it.
No, absolutely.
Okay, just letting you know. The way I feel, I don't know what's going to happen in today's case, but that's the way I feel.
Absolutely.
And that's the way you should feel. And I guarantee you it's the same way your wife would feel if you ditched her and stopped supporting her children and went and met somebody else and had 3 more children with somebody else. I guarantee you she would feel the same way. Fair statement?
Yes.
Okay, good. So all the women are in agreement. Your claim is that the defendant made certain promises to you. One was to share the cost of a car that you were getting for your daughter for her 16th birthday, or car parts. You were buying the car. And the other is for half of a Disney ticket.
An annual pass.
An annual pass. And that was for her 16th birthday.
Right.
What did her father give her for her 16th birthday?
Nothing. I mean, he never paid for his half. That was our agreement.
No. Did he give her any money?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I don't, unless he did it without my knowledge.
So, as far as you know, he gave her no gift for her 16th birthday.
Right.
Is that right, Mr. Valenzuela?
That is incorrect, actually.
Okay. Did you give your daughter?
Yes. What actually we ended up doing was, the reason for the Disneyland pass discussion was me and my wife considered buying our whole family Disneyland passes. So when she came to me and said, hey, I was thinking about doing a Disneyland pass, I told her we're considering doing that. So when the time...
You're considering doing Disney passes, annual Disney passes for you, your wife, and 3 children, and you owe $44,000 in back child support? Are you kidding me? Go out and get chalk and build a potsy board on your street and play potsy. Where do you come off spending $1,000 for Disney passes for your whole family when you owe $44,000 to this child? I don't understand it. I don't understand how men can be so irresponsible. And it's only because you're a man, because I have had some irresponsible women here too. But if I had a gauge, it's mostly on the guy's side. I want to hear a number or a thing that you gave your daughter for her birthday, for her sweet 16.
$200 cash. It was originally a check that we actually took back and gave it to her in cash, so she didn't have to worry about a check.
So you gave her $200 in cash that her mother doesn't know about. Now you're going to explain. Ms. Fox says that she agreed to pay for half of a Disney pass. You were going to get Disney passes for your whole family, and she agreed to pay for half for your daughter so that perhaps there would be occasions when you could go together, because I assume you go together. So explain that to me.
So what happened was we decided that we could not afford Disneyland passes. So that is why, obviously. So that's when we decided we'll just stick with the gift that we gave her, and then when the time is right, we would do it again. And then I was approached that I should have to pay for half of the birthday gift that she bought her, because I originally said that we considered buying Disneyland passes as a package for us, so that if we had the opportunity, we could take her.
How much is a Disneyland pass for a year? I don't know.
$619 for the pass. And I purchased one for her to split with him, and then I also purchased one for myself, so she could go with them, and also her and I.
Okay, so you have one with her.
I have one as well. Right?
Good for you. All right. Get over the Disney pass. Let's get on to the things that you agreed to purchase for the car.
Mm-hmm. So what happened was we got together and bought her a car. She came to me and said, they need new headlights, and the headliner needs to be fixed.
You got together and bought her a car. Yes. For how much?
It's like $2,000.
What are you looking at her for?
I don't remember the price.
Well, if you paid for half, then you would remember the price. Did you pay for half?
No, I did not.
Well, then you didn't get together to buy her a car. Her mother was going to buy her a car.
Correct.
You agreed to pay for a headlight.
And more, yeah.
Did you do it?
I did. I actually have a receipt here for the headlights I purchased.
Great. And did they use them on the car?
No, they did not, because she got upset with me after that, and they decided to do it on their own and get it fixed.
Okay. So.
That's not the case. I asked him, I purchased the car for $2,400. I let him know and asked him if he could help. He did give me $300 towards the car, and I was fine with that.
So he gave you $300 for the car.
He gave me $300 towards the car, right?
He gave you $300 for the car. I mean, I don't know why you were asking him for any money. He owes you $44,000. Why in the world would you ask him for any money? Say, give me $300. I'll take it off the $44,000 you owe.
I understand. I think his intentions are probably good most of the time, and so I want to allow him to do things for his daughter when he offers. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt that he'll follow through and do it.
It's just nice that they see each other and that everybody is supportive of that. So we gave you $300 for the car. All right, you get a gold star for that, Mr. Valenzuela. And you gave your daughter $200 in cash. You'll ask her about that when you get home.
Okay.
Is your daughter driving the car now that you bought for her?
She does, yes.
Okay. You're in the wrong court.
Okay.
Is the $410 a month taken out of his check?
They can't garnish because he works under the table.
Really? What kind of work does he do?
Last I knew, he was working for some sort of delivery company.
Take out your wallet.
Okay.
Social Security card.
Don't have that on me. That's actually filed away with all our Social Security cards.
Give me your Social Security number.
Okay. 36.
What's the name of your employer?
Right now, I'm not working. I actually work for
that.
Crown Entertainment.
Just a second. Does your wife working?
Yes.
Is your wife working?
Yes.
Who does she work for?
She works for the County of Kern.
You own a car?
Yes.
Is your car leased or do you own it?
Financed.
When did you purchase the car?
Be 2 years in June.
From whom?
Did I buy it?
From whom?
Oh, from the Dodge dealership.
Where?
In Bakersfield.
Get a lawyer. Now you have some information. You know where he bought the car. He had to fill out forms because if they're going to give him a loan, he had to have where he was working. He had to file tax returns. I'm sure you had his Social Security number, and in the event that you didn't, you now have his Social Security number. I would make his life miserable, if he's working under the table and not paying child support. Miserable. That's what I would do.
No, I got you. Yeah, no, it's one side of the story, so that's perfect.
No, it's only, I'm anxious to hear your side of the story,
it's
sir.
Just you keep saying that I don't pay child support, but we're actually going through a mediation right now where I showed them 2 years of proof of payments that I paid her that she never documented one time.
Just a second.
Which actually ended up causing more interest for me.
Could you tell me in the last 6 months how much child support you paid?
I've been paying between $300 and $400 a month.
For the last 6 months?
Yes.
Between 3 and 4?
Yes.
Not 410?
I tried to do at least $100 every week. There is weeks
I
where...
don't care whether you try.
Right.
Trying is not important.
So I would say between $300 and $400.
So, Mr. Valenzuela, I'll ask you what the mediator didn't ask you. If you've been paying at least $100 a week and your wife's not making that kind of money from the county and you have 3 children, where are you getting the money from?
Because I work as a DJ on the weekends right now, and I make $300 to $400 a weekend. So when you put that together...
In cash?
Yes.
Is that what you told the mediator?
Yes. And she has it documented also.
Just a second. That you work only on the weekends?
Yes.
Right. Who takes care of your 1-year-old? Your wife works for the county.
Right.
Who takes care of the 1-year-old?
Right now, I do.
Just a second. So is what you're telling me that you stay home to take care of the 1-year-old during the week while your wife works?
Correct.
So your choice is to stay home and be a house parent to your current children rather than working to pay for your primary responsibility.
That's not true.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When was the last time you had a full-time job, Monday through Friday, not on weekends? Somebody who has 4 children has to work on the weekends as a DJ.
A full, real-time job.
A real job, like we have a real job.
And later today,
I had nowhere to go. I literally had to pack my clothes.
You breached the agreement, sir. The agreement was that there was to be no drugs in the house at all.
She was the one that brought most of the drugs into the house.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Stacy Fox says her daughter's father, Joseph Valenzuela, owes $44,000 in back child support. She is suing for his share of their daughter's Sweet 16 gifts.
Okay. Well, I want to know, when was the last time you had a full-time job, Monday through Friday, not on weekends? Somebody who has 4 children has to work on the weekends as a DJ, but has a job Monday through Friday. When was the last time you had a Monday through Friday job?
A full, real-time job?
A real job, like we have a real job.
A year? I was a welder for 7 years in the oil fields.
So you were a welder until what year?
Until 2016.
So you shouldn't have built up any of those arrears.
No, because prior to that, I was out of job for a while. Prior to that,
and listen, Miss Fox, he doesn't owe you any money other than $44,000. You're in the wrong court. I have to tell you, I congratulate you both for being civil with regard to this. I would be furious with him.
I am.
Okay, well, and for a redhead, you're not showing the fury, but I would be furious with him. But he doesn't owe you any money on here. He owes you a fortune otherwise, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I just want him to pay what he says he's going to and help support his daughter.
I just look like the bad guy.
He's been doing it for years, so I'm just finally fed up. So.
If you do decide you want to be a dad, just don't get with a redhead, because they'll bring you down.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Zai versus Stallings. Step forward.
Minji Zhai is suing coffee shop owner Pamela Stallings for vet bills after Pamela's dog attacked her service dog.
Heard that dog likes you. Did you see the dog looking at you?
Must be that dog-flavored cologne I got on.
Yeah, maybe. Ms. Zai, it is your claim that the defendant's dog attacked your dog inside the defendant's coffee shop, and her dog was unleashed at the time. Your dog was injured. You want her to be responsible for the vet bills. Ms. Stallings is an interesting defense. She says that while she acknowledges that her dog may have bitten yours, it was actually your fault. And she says it was your fault with a bizarre recitation of what took place on the date of this incident, which, if true, actually would make me think that you're a nut. So I would like you to tell me, have you ever been to this coffee shop that's owned by the defendant before February 5th of 2018?
Yes.
And when you were there, did you go with or without your dog?
The times I went before, I did not go with my dog, except for once.
Did you ever see Miss Stallings' dog when you were there?
Not until the actual incident.
What kind of dog does she have?
I thought they were lab pit bull mix. I don't know what they are.
What kind of dogs do you have?
They're pit lab mixes.
How many?
I have 2 dogs.
How old are they?
They're almost 2 years old.
And they stay in the coffee shop unleashed?
No. My friend had walked the dogs, and instead of taking them to my house, he wanted coffee, so he brought them to the coffee shop. We were closed. I was getting ready to leave.
I'm going to ask you anything else, not your whole story. At the time of this incident, were your dogs leashed or unleashed?
They had leashes, but they weren't attached to anything.
Well, so they had leashes on, but they weren't under anyone's control.
No, they were just sitting in the back room.
How many entrances are there to the coffee shop?
2.
Were either one of them open at the time?
The side door was...
Just a second. That's either a yes or a no. Were either of the doors open at the time? Open, unlocked?
Unlocked, but the door was shut.
You could come in?
Yes.
And you are open to the public? Okay, Miss Zai, why don't you tell me what happened?
My friend and I, Jessica, walked into an urban coffee shop. It was open. There were 2 patrons inside the coffee shop. I walked in with Jessica, and right when we opened the door, Foxy was in front of us. It was myself and Jessica, and then her 2 dogs came up, sniffed Foxy, and then bit her. And then when
did
both of them...
Did both dogs bite her?
Yes, both dogs bit her. And what happened was the shock of it, the way they bit her, it moved her from the door entrance, like we stepped in. She got bit while in the coffee shop, but the way the impact of the bites were, she wound up behind the door, in the back, behind us. Jessica and I screamed, and then I picked her up. I picked Foxy up.
When did you see Miss Stallings?
So after I picked her up, one of her patrons said, "Oh, dogs will be dogs." And then that's when I was like trying really...
Just a second. When did you see Miss Stallings?
Right after she talked to me.
Right after that person?
Talked to me. Pamela came up to me. She apologized, and she said she'll pay for my vet bills. And I remember just being shocked and...
Okay, and that's how it happened.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She came to the side door
and she threw the dog in.
That was the cockamamie part of the story that I wanted you to tell. So what you're telling me is that she opened the door and threw the dog into your coffee shop. Is that what you want me to believe?
She did.
You're an idiot.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Minji Zhai says a dog owned by coffee shop owner Pamela Stallings attacked her service Papillon when she entered Pamela's shop.
I'd like the name of the person who walks your dog.
Oh, his name is Mike. He's
Mike what?
One of my customers.
Mike what?
I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his last name right now. He's just a casual customer friend.
How do you communicate with him when you want him to walk the dogs?
We text each other.
And how long has Mike been walking these 2 dogs?
Maybe a month.
Prior to Mike walking the dogs, who was walking the dogs?
No one. I didn't.
Now, for the last month that Mike has been walking the dogs, how many days a week does he walk the dogs?
Once or twice. It's very casual.
And when Mike has walked the dogs once or twice a week for the last month. Does he pick up the dogs at home or at the coffee shop?
Sometimes he picks them up at the house. Sometimes I bring them in the car, and he takes them from there.
The reason I ask you those questions, Ms. Stallings, I wanted a picture in my mind of whether or not these dogs are regularly in your coffee shop. The answer is no. They are at home. So when this incident happened on October the 5th, your dogs were in a strange place, out of your control, because they were unleashed. And Mike, for some reason, brought them to the coffee shop. That's what you're telling me. That's what the circumstances are. Now, you want to tell me the cockamamie story that you told me in your answer, or you want to just let it go from there and say what happened is, as Ms. Zai says happened, that my 2 pit bull mixes attacked her dog, and I'm going to be responsible for her vet bills? Or you want to tell me this cockamamie story, which I'm going to listen to?
I want to tell you my story.
Go.
Miss I came in to the coffee house. She came to the side door. She rattled the door. She made noise talking, and she threw the dog in. She did not enter.
Just a sec. That was the cockamamie part of the story that I wanted you to tell. That was the stupid part of the story that I wanted an intelligent woman who runs a business to tell me. So what you're telling me is that this woman who takes her dog everywhere, this calm dog, who clearly is a dog that is attached to its mother, that she opened the door and threw the dog into your coffee shop. Is that what you want me to believe?
She did.
You're an idiot.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Real Cases, Real People. Judge Judy.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
So what you're telling me is that this woman who takes her dog everywhere, this calm dog, that she opened the door and threw the dog into your coffee shop. Is that what you want me to believe?
She did.
You're an idiot.
Only one dog bit her, and it made 3 puncture wounds, a centimeter deep. I told her,
objection.
Go to the vet. I will.
Objection.
Just a second. Don't speak. Up. Don't speak.
I told her, go to the vet. I will pay the bill. And she said, you're going to pay for this. That was the immediate thing. So I'm sorry that this happened, but I am more sorry that Miss Sai is trying to capitalize on it, because she called me 10 minutes later after she left for the vet and said, I'm coming back and I want $500.
Just a second. All I want to know what your vet bills were.
At least $2,000.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I don't want you to say at least. I want to see the vet bills.
Yes, I have it.
How much were they?
$2,100.
These were the original invoices from both veterinarians.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,100. We're finished. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A traveling pet owner's shocking homecoming.
The dog wasn't in your custody.
He bonded with my children, bonded with my dogs, and I just was like, okay, we're just going to keep them.
Next, Judge Judy.
I'm very happy with the decision. I wanted to pay for the vet bill and make good on my word.
It's definitely fair.
Well, I was being sued for $10,000, so.
She claimed that I was harassing her when I was negotiating with her.
She just wanted more punitive damages.
Just own up to it and just work it out.
Yes. Should study spelling.
I didn't write that on his car.
You have a text spelling the word liar the same way that someone spelled the word liar, L-I-E-R, on your car. My 3rd grader grandchild knows how to spell liar.
Okay, well, I didn't write it.
You wrote this.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ayarinde Ogunfola Jimmy is suing former friend Shellarice Mendoza for vandalizing his car, harassment, and a false restraining order.
Order. All rise.
Now, this is case number 377 on the calendar in the matter of Ogunfola Jimmy versus Mendoza. He says Mr. Jimmy will be fine. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Jimmy, is that
Yes, Your
okay
Honor.
with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
You met the defendant when you were both students, is that right?
At campus in school.
In what year?
August 29th, 2018.
Did you ever date socially?
No.
Would you consider yourself friends
At that point.
at that point? Now, there was an incident involving you and your car. That happened on September 3rd?
Between September 3rd and September 4th.
I'd like you to tell me what happened.
Okay, so we met August 29th.
That I got.
So we text back and forth, and we spoke September 3rd around 10 p.m. And she asked me if I want to hang out. So I told her it's too late. So we talked for about 10 minutes, and I was like, I'll be going to bed soon. And the phone hung up on her hand. I went to bed. Then I woke up middle of the night to all her text messages apologizing for the phone being cut off. And from that apologizing to using curse word and all kind of word that why am I ignoring her and all sort of stuff. I have the text messages here.
I'd like to see them. Okay, so there was some nasty texts back and forth. That was on September the 3rd.
Correct.
You indicated in your complaint that Miss Mendoza came to your home.
Yes, so...
At what time?
Around 9 a.m. of September 4th.
Okay, did she ring your bell?
She did not.
Did she just come in?
So my roommate was going out. When he opened the door, she was in front of the door and she pushed herself in.
Well, so you didn't see that, but that's what you gather. She entered the house. You didn't give her permission to enter your house. All right, she entered your house and?
So she was screaming, where is he, where is he? And she walked to the kitchen. She didn't see me. Then she came straight to the bedroom. So she threw her phone and the phone landed on the bed. So I was like, what's going on? And she was like, why are you ignoring me, blah, blah, blah. So I went to the living room and she followed me. So my roommate calmed her down. Then after that, my roommate was going out. So he was like, can I go now? I said, yeah. So I was like, what's going on? So I told her to have a seat. I was like, we're not dating or anything. So why are you acting this way? She was like, yeah, you were ignoring my text. I called you.
All right, she said you were ignoring her. She was annoyed. You were ignoring her. Let's move on from there.
So
we're at 9 o'clock.
She later apologized and said she's sorry. So I said, okay, so now you have to leave. And she was like, I want to apologize to your friend. So my friend went to the store. In like 30 minutes, he was back. So when he came back, she was talking to my friend. So I took the trash out. While I was walking back from dumping the trash, I just saw my car in front of my apartment. I saw scratch all over the car. There was words written on it. So I came upstairs and asked her, what did you do to my car? And she was like, that she didn't do it, that her boyfriend did it. I was like, how did your boyfriend come here? She was like, since I ignored her, she was in my apartment inside her car all through the night. She said she was in the car. So she said her boyfriend, she invited her boyfriend over and they were talking and the boyfriend got mad. I was like, that doesn't...
She blamed the scratches on your car on a boyfriend.
On her boyfriend.
May I see the scratches on your car? You go to college?
Yes.
What year are you in?
Junior.
What are you studying?
Business management.
You should study spelling.
I didn't write that on his card.
Okay. Now, you indicate in your complaint, sir, that you have a text from Miss Mendoza spelling the word liar the same way that someone spelled the word liar,
yes,
L-I-E-R, on your car. Put your hand down. Do you have a text from
Your
her?
Honor.
I'd like to see it.
Here's the word. It's at the bottom.
See, when you write nasty things and you write them fast, I'm a very bad speller. It's never my strong suit. I couldn't spell his last name, which is very long, unless I studied it for a long time. Mm-hmm. But my third grader grandchild knows how to spell liar. And it's not L-I-E-R.
Okay, well, I didn't write it.
You wrote this.
No, I didn't. I didn't even send those text messages, Your Honor.
Oh. Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Well, if you didn't, what's your boyfriend's name?
My boyfriend? He didn't send those either.
Just pay careful attention to
it. Wasn't my boyfriend, for one.
Just a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Name, address, telephone number of the person that you told the plaintiff scratched his car. Name, address, and telephone number. You going to give it to me?
Name, address? No, because there was no one that I know that scratched his
I want you to
car.
understand, Miss Mendoza. I believe every word that he said.
I don't see why. You didn't even hear my side of the story
Just a second. Because that is what I'm paid to do for 50 years. Evaluate somebody's demeanor and facts, pictures. Fact that you don't deny you went to his house.
I never said I went to his house.
You didn't go to his house on September 4th?
No, ma'am.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a police report?
No, he does not.
I asked him if he has a police report.
Okay, well, he doesn't have it because it didn't happen.
And also, I have a recording. The night he came to my house, she dropped a voice message, like a 5-second voice message, cussing me out that I'm lucky that I didn't open the door. She was going to mess me up.
May I hear it?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did he say prior to that?
You lucky because I will beat you up in that. That's for real.
Okay. Do you have an estimate for damaging your car?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, well, the paint job is $17.92 for the car. She's not giving you a brand new car that's 6 years old. That's the paint job.
The total day is for the labor, too, and all.
You can get a paint job for $2,000, sir.
He's just
Excuse me?
To pay for something. I say he's trying to get me to pay for something that I did not do, Your Honor.
I'm going to give you a chance now.
Okay.
Now you tell me where you were on September 3rd and 4th.
I was at work.
Okay. And who do you work for?
I was working for a warehouse, White Castle Warehouse in Indianapolis.
And what kind of work were you doing?
Supervise. I supervised the line.
Okay. And what are your work hours?
Work hours?
Well, on the 3rd and 4th. You said you weren't there. You were working.
Right. We were short-handed, so I was working, I want to say like a 12-hour shift.
Not like you want to say. I don't care what you want to say. I want to know what you're testifying to that I'm going to corroborate when I call your office. What shift were you working between the 3rd and the 4th? If it was a 12-hour shift and you started at 9 o'clock at night and you didn't finish until 9 o'clock the next morning, then you couldn't have been at his house.
Right.
If you were working during that time. So you tell me what your workplace is going to corroborate when I call them.
That I was at work.
Between what hours and what hours? You tell me your shift, and then you're going to give me your supervisor. I will tell them that you gave me their number. Please go back to your work card and tell me what hours you were working on the 3rd and the 4th.
Okay.
Great. Think what hours shift you were working between the 3rd and the 4th.
Okay, I worked from 9 to about 5 that evening. Then I went back to work from like 7 until like the next morning, which was 6 in the morning.
Let's start again. On the 3rd of
I just
September.
told you the hours.
No, let's try again.
Judy.
No, let's try again. On September 3rd, you worked from...
It's realistic.
No. On the September 3rd, you worked from what hour to what hour?
I told you.
September 3rd.
9 to 5.
9 to 5 on September 3rd.
Yep.
And on September 4th, you worked from what time to what time?
Well, the same day I worked for...
No.
You're not
September
understanding.
3rd, you worked from 9 a.m.
I'm
to
a
5
supervisor.
p.m.
I have to be at work. If they need people there, I have to come.
9 a.m. Listen, if what you're telling me is that you can't corroborate what time you were working, say you're not going to be able to corroborate what time I was working.
That's not the issue. I'm corroborating, but I'm telling you...
No, you're not corroborating. I'm just asking you what time you were working on the 4th. You said 9 to 5 on the 3rd. What time were you working on the 4th?
About the same hours.
9 a.m.
Since
to
that's
5
what you want to hear.
to 5 p.m. So that you couldn't have been at his house at 9 a.m. What time did she arrive at your house on the 4th?
I wasn't sure, but the voice message was like 2 a.m. early in the morning.
But your roommate was going out
9 a.m.
to get something.
Yes.
And that's when she came in. That's what I want to know.
Correct.
And what time was that?
About 9 a.m.
Well, so if she was working at 9 a.m., she couldn't have been at your house at 9 a.m. Who was your direct supervisor?
Her name is...
Last name?
Henderson.
And what is her title?
She's the operating manager.
Phone number?
I don't know the number by heart.
Look it up in your book, like if you were calling in sick.
My phone is not currently working. I mean, it's dead. I mean...
Judge, we'll charge it. What do you want?
They don't have a charger. I already asked for a charger. They don't have one.
I have a charger. What kind of phone is it? What kind of phone is it?
It's a Samsung.
And nobody has a charger for a Samsung? Anybody have a charger for a Samsung phone? Oh, I have a whole bunch of people who have chargers for Samsung phones.
I don't know.
Great. Is it going to be a waste of my time?
No, it won't
Great.
be a waste of your time.
Okay, Bert, would you find someone who has a charger for a Samsung phone? We're going to charge up this lady's phone so it's working.
It's so funny.
And then be able to get Henderson's phone number. Great. We'll recall your case. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. This case will be recalled.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
You had jobs.
Yes.
And you had jobs.
Yes.
So the dogs were home all day alone.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now there's damage to the apartment, so we have Dumb and Dumber. And I'm going to amuse myself for 2 minutes before I throw you all out. Could I see the first video, please?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
In a case recall from earlier today, Ayarinde Ogunfola Jimmy says former friend Sheindlin Mendoza scratched up his car in a fit of rage. Sheindlin is countersuing, claiming the plaintiff also scratched up her car.
Judge, this is a recall case 377 in the matter of Ogunfola Jimmy versus Mendoza. I remind parties you're still under oath.
Thank you. Ms. Mendoza, I called the number that you provided to the clerk. There was never any Miss Henderson working there. That's the name of the person you said was your supervisor.
Yeah.
They have never had a person by the name of Miss Henderson there. You are no longer working there. Your first day of employment there was June the 11th of 2018. Your last day of employment there was October 8th, 2018. Now, you want to tell me where you made up the word Henderson from?
I thought that was her last name.
Okay, very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,792 to get your car painted. Your counterclaim's dismissed. I don't like fibbers.
Well, 'cause that's ridiculous.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's saying I damaged his car, which it wasn't me who damaged his car.
Everything proved that she did it.
I did not scratch his car. No point in doing that.
She was never part of my life, so...
The name Henderson, maybe the lady got married. Who knows?
Just frustrating.
He fall off a cliff.
A questionable hire for his home renovation.
Do you need a license as a contractor?
Yes, I do.
And you didn't have one?
But I did inform Larry that I did not have insurance at the time.
And you didn't check his reference?
That's true.
Doesn't sound very intelligent to me.
And what kind of help did he hire?
He let me go because stuff started coming up missing.
Where did you get these people from?
I got them from the halfway house.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Larry Avis is suing contractor Dwayne Mathis for failing to complete drywall work, damaging his property, and stolen items.
Order. All rise. It's case number 360 on the calendar, the matter of Avis versus Mathis.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Avis, could you tell me what you were doing to this house that you had purchased that you hired him to do some contracting work on?
Yes, ma'am. We have a house now, but it's a big house. We wanted to downsize.
And what did you buy the other house for?
We bought it on contract for $70,000.
And I assume that house for $70,000 needed renovation.
It did, yes.
What kind of renovation did it need?
So I was told there was mold inside one of the walls.
So it needed mold remediation.
That's what it needed, but I decided to rip all the drywall out and start fresh.
And is that what the defendant was supposed to do?
Yes, ma'am. Rip out and then replace the drywall and finish it.
That's what you were hired to do?
That's correct.
And Mr. Mathis, do you have a company?
No, I do not. I was just laid off, and I was going to start a company.
Just a second. So the answer is you don't have a company?
No, I do not.
And in what state do you live?
Indiana.
Do you need a license as a contractor?
Yes, I do.
And you didn't have one?
No, I did not.
So you shouldn't have taken on this job?
No, I did not. But I did inform Larry that I did not have insurance at the time because I was starting my business. I needed money to start it.
I didn't ask you about insurance. I said license.
Right.
So you had no business taking on this job because you didn't have a license to do it.
Correct.
When Mr. Avis came to you, you showed him some pictures of work that you had done.
Correct.
Do you have those pictures?
What work that I've done?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have work that I've done on my phone.
No, I don't care about what's in your phone. I care about what you showed to Mr. Avis.
Yeah, he's seen my work before.
Where?
Where?
Facebook.
Facebook. There you go,
Facebook is where I found the work.
Oh, but you never saw any of his work in real time,
Correct.
personally.
Correct.
You saw it on Facebook.
Correct.
He could have taken a picture of any house, anything else, but
yes.
You accepted that, and you didn't check his reference.
That's true.
Oh, that's a
he
mistake.
was referred to me through a mutual friend, yes.
Who cares? It was...
Okay.
Who cares?
Correct.
If it's referred to you by your podiatrist, who cares? And I assume that since you were downsizing, and downsizing is to save money, because that's why people usually downsize unless they're empty nesters, and you don't look old enough to be an empty nester.
Correct.
So you were downsizing to save money. Did you get other estimates to do the work? The answer is yes or no.
Yes.
And what did the estimates range from?
$6,400 to Dwayne's or Mr. Mathis's $8,640.
So why didn't you go with $6,400?
He said he wanted to start a business. I'm all about that. We did argue about the price back and forth. We settled at $8,000.
The person that you got an estimate of $6,400 for, do you remember the name of that company?
All in one.
They licensed and insured?
They are. Once bitten, twice shy.
Doesn't sound very intelligent to me.
Okay.
You have licensed and insured, and you have a laid-off construction worker who's not licensed and uninsured.
That's true.
Who's charging you more money.
That's true.
I'm not following that.
Sympathy.
Sympathy. I have no sympathy.
Ah.
Bird has sympathy, but even he wouldn't take that deal. He's much more sympathetic than I am.
Is the sympathetic look.
What was wrong with the job he did?
So it took a little bit longer than anticipated.
It always does. Construction always takes longer.
Sure, and I gave him that, but I went to check on the progress, and I found that my furnace was destroyed, my stove was outside in the rain. All of this I made very clear I wanted to keep. Everything was supposed to stay as is, moved it to the garage, out of the elements, and then once the work was finished, I would have moved it all back in. The furnace was destroyed. The kid that destroyed it, Dwayne's helper, had admitted to kicking the furnace because it was smoking. And what the HVAC...
Did he do the drywall in the house?
He did not do the drywall. He removed the drywall, yes.
He didn't put up the new drywall?
No.
Is that because you fired him?
Yes.
Who did you hire to install the drywall?
All in one.
How much did they charge you?
$67.40.
How much did you pay Mr. Mathis?
I wrote him 2 checks, one for $4,000 and one for $2,000.
And at best, he did half the job. He took down the wall, but he didn't put it back up.
Yes.
And you didn't do the walls because he let you go.
That's correct.
And he let you go because he didn't like the color of your eyes. He let you go because he didn't like the smell of your cologne, or he let you go because he was dissatisfied with the job.
That wasn't correct. He let me go because stuff started coming up missing.
Just a second. He let you go because stuff started coming up missing from a project that you were GCing.
Yes.
That would be your responsibility.
I paid for the screw gun. I paid him more. I got him a screw gun.
You got him what?
I got him an impact screw gun plus a drill. I've replaced that. I wasn't there on the job site. I was taking his word and going against my people's word. They say they didn't take it.
Just a second. Where were you?
I was at another job.
You don't have a business. Where did you get these people from?
I got them from the halfway house. I went to the halfway house. I needed help at the time when I was in the halfway house, so I decided to go to the halfway house to pick up some guys because I know how it is. It's only demo. You just rip down walls, and that's all you do.
He said that there were things that came up missing.
They didn't have a right. I had to pick them up and drop them off. Oh, they did not carry anything up.
Mr. Mathis, I'm feeling very, very unsympathetic towards you. What do you want?
Your Honor, we had offered to get cameras, and we asked Larry if he had cameras to put up to see who was taking things, and he said no, and we offered to get cameras.
Are you the wife?
Yes.
All right. Let me tell you something. He is an unlicensed person doing a job, and he's bringing people that he doesn't know who he wants to give a break to from a halfway house, and he took a job, and the person who gave him the job, who got a cheaper estimate, was trying to do something because he wanted to give him a break. And what he got was a zippity-doo-dah. He got somebody who wasn't even there because he was on another job and hired people who he didn't know anything about their work ethic, about the quality of work in his house, just doing demolition like my 9-year-old grandchildren could do. You give them a hammer, they can take down walls. He knew nothing about these people. He said, I got the people from a halfway house.
And my 2 cousins and another guy.
And me.
And her. She worked there, too.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
And you done heard him. After the demo, it was $6,400. How much was it? $6,400 from the guys just to put the drywall up and finish it?
Let me tell you something. $6,740. And let me tell you why. It was probably a little bit more, sir, than their original estimate, which was $6,400 to do both jobs. I'll tell you a story about a friend of mine who went to buy an engagement ring for his wife. He went into the store and he said, I want to buy this engagement ring, and gave him a price. He said, it's too much money. He offered him considerably less money for the ring. His fiance really liked the ring. And he shopped around and shopped around and shopped around. She said, I really like that ring. They couldn't find one as nice. They couldn't find stone as nice. He went back to the store. The store said, it's now plus $2,000. What the original price was 8 months ago is now plus $2,000. Because you should have bought it then. So if one and all in one, or one and only, whatever it was, charged him a little more money, that's okay. You did half a job. You took down the walls. You get half the money. He paid you $6,000. He gets back $3,000.
I don't understand that because the material cost $3,000 right there.
The money that he
I paid for the material.
Just a second. You paid for the drywall?
Correct. I paid for the drywall and everything.
Can I see it, please?
So we're not covering the furnace?
No, we're not covering the furnace.
No? Okay.
Did he pay for the drywall?
With my money, with part of the $6,000, yes.
This is what I've been dealing with.
So again...
Shh. No, this says $2,290.
That's correct.
That's what this says.
And then what about my
employees
that I
No, this
paid
isn't.
You can call them up.
I don't call anybody. Listen to me. This has nothing to do with drywall.
Yes,
this is a box of wood, 4 buckets, 12 boxes, 2 something else, all coming to $2,200.
It should say something
those
about
12-inch boards up at the top.
12-inch board.
What?
Oh, my gosh.
Can I see that?
I'll let you show the Home Depot. What I paid for Home Depot, I returned it the same day because they weren't going to stock his house. So I got the money back from Home Depot that day and went to J&J Drywall.
They were going to leave, Home Depot was going to leave the drywall outside when it was raining.
Yes, so
and
I
he told them to take it back and hire J&J Drywall.
After I asked him, the furnace was destroyed, and I told him I wanted my money back, and I asked him how much he had in material. On his text, he told me $1,475, not $2,200.
That was only for the drywall board.
That was only for the drywall.
Drywall is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the 4 buckets.
You got to finish it. You got to corner bead, all that stuff.
That was not there. All in one showed up to do the house. I walked it.
Just a second.
That was
the drywall there?
The drywall was, yes.
Okay. We have pictures, ma'am.
And the drywall was $1,400? Is that what it is?
$1,475, according to Mr. Mathis.
Well, if you take away the $1,475 from the $3,000, which I think that he owes you because he only did half a job, that's $1,525 if you use the drywall.
What about the employees I paid?
I don't care.
What about you don't care?
I absolutely don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I told him I did not have insurance. I told him I wasn't validated or anything. I said, this is my first job doing anything.
Next time, have insurance. And if you're going to use pickup people, supervise them.
And later today.
Especially if the child is living in their mother's house, they take care of them. And they don't get paid for cleaning or doing chores or even making dinner. That's what you do when your elderly parents get sick.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Larry Avis says contractor Dwayne Mathis failed to complete a drywall job at his home. He also claims James' workers damaged and stole his property.
Now, don't go into business, Mr. Mathis, that you can't do. What?
He offered to do the demo for $600.
No, I offered
No, listen to me. I don't care what he offered for. That was the deal you made with him. And I'm saying to you, he took down half the stuff. You hired somebody else. They charged you more than they originally said that they wanted for the whole job. Listen, you're an interesting guy, but I don't understand that. In the meantime,
I didn't understand. I told him I did not have insurance. I told him I wasn't validated or anything. I said, this is my first job of doing anything. He said, that's fine.
You're giving him back money.
All right.
So
I
lost money.
You look, so did he. Next time, have insurance. And if you're going to use pickup people, supervise them. Don't go to another job. If you're going to use...
I was president.
You have children?
Yes.
How many?
4.
Good. You weren't there all the time. He used pickup people and he went to do something else. And I don't take away from you that spirit of trying to do a business. But if the first time you're trying to do it doesn't work out, you learn from that experience. Correct. You don't use people that you don't know, and you get insurance, so you have insurance.
I will.
But right now, he's out a lot of money because he was trying to be a good guy. And if you are out a little bit of money, it's because you were operating without a license and without insurance. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,525. We're done. Thank you.
Why is your excuse? You may step out.
Some things getting missing in the furnace.
About a week into the job, things again come up missing.
That was my part of, not paying attention.
All the appliances were destroyed.
Yeah, it's a lesson learned. Get insurance.
It is.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Watkins versus Jackson. Step forward.
Karen Watkins is suing her former friend and roommate, Shirley Jackson Jr., for the return or value of property Shirley kept while Karen was incarcerated. Shirley is countersuing for unpaid rent.
Miss Watkins, let me see if I understand your case. You and Miss Jackson were roommates together for, according to you, about 8 years.
Yes.
You rented a house together. You were supposed to split the rent. According to you, you had some things stored in the garage in that house that you were renting. And then there came a time when you stole property from her.
No, that's not correct.
Wait just a second. Well, it is correct because you pled guilty.
I pled nolo contendere.
That's the same as a guilty plea. Just a second. That's the exact same thing as a guilty plea.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What's wrong with these two?
Okay. Out.
Okay. I don't get a warning?
Out.
You want me to come?
No warning.
No. I'm a witness.
Out. No, you're not.
You're not
because
listening.
I'm not. Because
I love you, Judge, but you're not listening.
It's not happening.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Karen Watkins is suing her former friend and roommate, Shirley Jackson Jr., for the return or value of property Shirley kept while Karen was incarcerated. Shirley is countersuing for unpaid rent.
Then there came a time when you stole property from her.
No, that's not correct.
Wait just a second. Well, it is correct because you pled guilty.
I pled nolo contendere.
That's the same as a guilty plea. Just a second. That's the exact same thing as a guilty plea. And there was restitution ordered that I assume you paid.
No.
Haven't paid the restitution?
No.
Just a second. Now, I'm going to ask you, have you paid the restitution?
Not yet.
So the answer is no.
No.
You haven't paid the restitution. What?
She was ordered to start her payments on February 1st of 2019, but I haven't received anything from her.
Got it. She hasn't paid it. That's what she says.
Yes.
What court did you go to hear that?
Just a second. We went to a restitution hearing, and you were supposed to pay her back $795.
That is correct.
Okay.
But I went to a financial hearing, and I don't go back till tomorrow on the findings of the financial hearing.
Very nice. You're not getting any money from her. Let me explain. She's not giving you any money.
She's not giving me any money for what?
For anything.
I have a restraining order here, Judge.
Okay, I have one on you.
Excuse me.
Just a second. Miss Watkins.
Okay, well, don't
I'm
talk
not, listen to me. I'm not getting involved in this.
Oh.
You stole property from her. There was no question about that because you were assigned a lawyer or you retained a lawyer. The judge told you that the plea... Don't look so surprised. I don't know what you're looking surprised about. You're looking shocked.
I don't think you understand.
Oh, I do understand. If you plead guilty and are directed to pay restitution because you stole property, that makes you guilty.
Your
do you
Honor,
understand
it
wasn't
explained like that. Your Honor, it wasn't.
And she wanted to get out. She put her in jail.
Wait a minute. I pled
There was
guilty.
no evidence whatsoever.
It doesn't matter. Tracy, please.
No evidence. She went to jail.
Just a second.
I went to jail because you put on a police report.
Yeah,
Did you
because
see me steal your safe?
Just a second. We're almost done here.
Yeah, we are probably done.
It's her word against hers. There's no evidence. They got the fingerprints.
They got. I lived in the house for 8 years. What's wrong with these two?
Okay.
Out.
Okay.
I don't get a warning?
Out.
You want me to come?
No warning.
No.
I'm a witness.
Out. No, you're not.
You're not
because
listening.
I'm not. Because
I love you, Judge, but
yeah,
you're not listening.
It's not happening.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You're supposed to go back to court tomorrow. You go back tomorrow. And if you can convince a judge that you don't have to pay restitution to her, you can come back here. So I'm not hearing her case here until that matter is, she says it's going to be heard. So I would make a call to the district attorney whose number you have.
No, actually, I can go up there. I can go to the courthouse and find out myself.
Perfect. Perfect. Because, Ms. Watkins, I'm not giving you any money. I'm not even entertaining your case until I hear what happens, because you say the criminal case isn't finalized yet. And if it's not finalized yet, after you pled guilty and we agree on the amount, but you say there's supposed to be a further hearing, I'm going to wait the outcome of that further hearing. Hands down. And if it's not resolved there, you're more than welcome to come back here. But if you steal from somebody in order to pay restitution that you haven't paid, you don't come to court and then sue the victim of your burglary. We're done.
Exactly.
Here. Goodbye.
Step out. Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy. And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Clapp versus Curry. Step forward.
Paulette Clapp is suing Christopher Curry for an unpaid loan and unauthorized credit card charges.
Ms. Clapp, it is your claim that you made loan to the defendant far in excess of the court's jurisdiction and that he's failed to pay you back. Mr. Curry says, well, he acknowledges that you gave him money. He said it was really for services rendered. He was helping you with some sort of patent that you wanted to do. And the money that you gave him was for payment for his advice in having to secure certain patents. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
According to you, for giving her your friend's name and for having dinner at her house and looking at papers, she owed you $7,500. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
You should be embarrassed.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Paulette Clapp says she loaned money to Christopher Curry when his bank account had been compromised, and he's yet to pay her back.
Okay, Ms. Clapp, I want you to show me where you got the $5,000 from that you gave him on what date?
July the 13th.
I'd like you to show me where you got the money from.
Here you go.
What did you do for her for the money?
My company installed an alkaline water system in our house, and after she was...
Is that your business?
Yes, ma'am.
And you installed the system in her house on what date?
October 2017.
That was the first time you met her?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Would you tell me the circumstances surrounding her giving you a check for $5,000, which you deposited?
We installed a water system that she had purchased through my company. And once we installed the system, I went back to do the contract with her. And I guess due to my knowledge of, doing alkaline water and owning a patent for it, she thought I would be a good person to help her with the invention that she was trying to invent, her shoe. And
what invention?
Her shoe invention. And at that point, I offer my services to help her with the patent, because I'm kind of familiar with the service, talking to lawyers, looking at contracts and so on. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I told her my services wouldn't be free, but I would take a look at the contract.
What contract? Mean that somebody else prepared?
It was a patent contract she had through a patent company, and she wanted me to look it over to see if there was any legal jargon there that may need to be taken out or added, for the protection of her business or her patent.
And did you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you do that in her house?
Yes, ma'am.
When you looked at it, was that the same day that you came over to discuss a contract with her about your alkaline water system?
No, ma'am. She invited me over to have dinner with her and look over the contract.
And you did that?
I did.
You went over and you had dinner. Do you remember what date that was?
It was around January.
So you went over in January and you had dinner with her. Do you remember showing him any papers when he came over in January?
Yes. But, Your Honor...
And were they papers for this idea that you had?
No, it wasn't an idea. I had already designed a formality and the design of the pack.
So he looked it over in January. When he came over for dinner.
Yeah, I asked him.
Good. And then?
So I looked over the paperwork or what have you.
Not a what have you. You went and you had dinner and you looked over papers.
Yes.
That was in January. What else did you do?
After I looked over papers, I figured, I really didn't want to do it.
I don't care what you figure. I want to know what else you did.
I looked over paperwork, gave her my advice, made some recommendations to the patent that I was looking at. Things I would probably question a second.
Perfect. Good. You did that in January at dinner. What else did you do? February, March, April, May, June. Come on. What else did you do?
Okay. At that point, in my company, my payroll person.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I asked you what you said to her to get her to give you $5,000. Because if you said you owe me $7,500, she wouldn't have taken out a loan on her life insurance. Believe me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Paulette Clapp says she loaned money to Christopher Curry when his bank account had been compromised, and he's yet to pay her back.
Okay, the answer is, well, I went back the end of January. She came to my office in February. I went to a lawyer's office in March. If what you're telling me is you looked over the papers in January when you were at dinner, and that's all that you did with regard to it, then just say that was the extent of my participation. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, ma'am. She did send me a text and asked me if I knew someone that can potentially design a shoe for her.
Did you answer her?
Yes, ma'am, I did in text message.
And you said?
I said, I have a friend that's an artist, and he could potentially design a shoe for her.
Did you give her the name?
I did not give her the name. No, ma'am. I just said it was my best friend.
Did she respond?
She reached out to me a couple of times, wanted to know if I had talked to him, to actually have him to look at the shoe, to design the shoe.
Other than giving her your friend's name and having dinner with her in January and looking for papers, what else did you do?
That's it, Your Honor.
That's not $5,000 worth or $7,000 worth. You said it was $7,500 because she gave you a check for $5,000, but you also spent a couple of grand on her credit card. Now, you started to tell me a story, Mr. Curry, and your story was your business went into some financial difficulty.
It did.
And you called her, this is your story, because according to you, for giving her your friend's name and for having dinner at her house and looking at papers, she owed you $7,500.
Correct.
That's what you just told me.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
You should be embarrassed. Took advantage of her.
No,
Shouldn't do that.
I can't get my time back, Your Honor.
Just a second. You went and you ate dinner at her house.
Yes.
You looked over papers
yes.
for one evening, and you answered a text which said, I think my friend can make the shoe for you. That was the extent of your participation in her idea. That's not worth $7,500.
I just feel my time and knowledge is very important. You can't get that time or money back.
Even I don't make that kind of money, sir, and I make a lot of money.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, when you called her, Mr. Curry, and she took a loan out on her life insurance in order to give you this $5,000, what did you say to her?
I just told her that I was dealing with some financial difficulties where my payroll person overdrafted my checking account. So at that point, I started reaching out to people that owed me money for services.
That's what you're telling me. That's not what you told her. I asked you what you told her.
Right. Well, I told her I don't mind helping her, but it's going to be around $7,500.
No.
You two, that's being a mistake.
When somebody overdrafted your payroll and you needed money, I asked you what you said to her when you called her in order to get her to give you $5,000. What did you say to her? Because if you said to Miss Clapp, you owe me $7,500, she wouldn't have taken out a loan on her life insurance. Believe me, not that lady. So I want to know what you said to her.
So I called her up and told her that my business checking account had been overdrawn by my payroll person. And I said, due to us being friends, and I looked over your contracts with you. At that point, I asked her, would she mind helping me out with...
That's what I thought.
With getting a loan.
Very, very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're finished. Thank you.
Excuse, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I knew that he had problems going on, but after a year, it was time to pay me.
She asked me to look over the legal jargon of it. I looked over the legal jargon of it, gave her my opinion.
My shoe is patent pending.
I gave her a lot of advice, and my time is valuable as well.
He's still good, no problem. Like I said, it's business. It's not personal.
Don't do anything without a contract and notarize.
He's suing his former employer, Chad Young, for unpaid wages and filing a false restraining order.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 2140, DeTorres versus Young.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. DeTorres, according to your complaint, you did some work for the defendant as a plumber. Didn't work out, and he terminated you, and he owes you some wages.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says that while your work in the beginning was okay, you were never an employee of his. You're an independent contractor. That's the way he sets it up, and he's going to explain that to me. That he paid you your wages, even though the last job that you did cost him an awful lot to repair. He was not happy with the quality of work that you did, and his counterclaim is for vandalism, something that happened with his truck, work hours lost due to your incompetence. That I'm not going to hear, sir. You know, you make a choice with an employee, and if it turns out to be something that is less than satisfactory, then you let them go. But the one who I assume suffered from what you call lack of quality work that he performed was the person that you were working for. Was that a private residence that he was doing work in?
Yes. Yeah, a bunch of private residents.
Yeah, that's the person who suffered.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're going to make this as easy as possible. From what days to what days did you work?
I worked for Chad from June 13th to August 3rd.
And how much were you supposed to be paid?
For those 3 days, $840.
Say June 13th?
Yes, ma'am.
To August 3rd?
Correct.
Well, that's more than 3 days.
No, his wage he owes me from August 1st to August 3rd is what he did not pay me for.
Okay, and where did you work during those days?
Multiple residents.
Okay, do you have any sort of a call log from him?
I do. It's right here in my
Do you dispute that he worked from August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd?
Yes.
You dispute that
There was one day he actually did one of my jobs for a couple hours that day.
Doesn't matter. He has a log.
Half a day for one day.
Did you pay him for that half day?
I did not, because the job was done incorrectly multiple times.
But he did that job. Okay, now, do you have a log?
As in?
It's some sort of a work log. You have a business. You have people who are general contractors. You get a call. You don't have a payroll because you pay these people independently. Do you pay them in cash or check?
Both.
Well, how did you pay him?
Sometimes it was through a cashier's check and sometimes it was cash.
Okay, but never through a company check where you deducted Social Security.
No, because I 1099 all my employees, so they're all self-employed, so they have to do all that on their own.
I do understand. I mean, you're not the inventor of this whole system, sir, of paying in cash. Okay. Are you one of those? How long have you been an independent contractor?
I've been contracted with Chad since July 5th.
Of what year?
This year, 2022.
Oh, so short term.
Yes, ma'am.
Does he pay you in check or cash? No, look at me.
Check it first, and then later on it became through Venmo, and then it's gone back to check now.
What kind of check?
Cashier's check.
Just a straight cashier's check with nothing taken out?
No, ma'am.
No, I go to my bank to get all that.
What?
I go to my bank to get the cashier's checks, and sometimes I Venmo him the payment too, just to pay.
I understand, but sir, you're not the first person who I know who pays their people in cash and says that you're independent contractors. You're independent contractors. I don't want to know about it. What name do you use for the cashier's checks?
My personal name.
Is this the first time you've worked for him?
Yes.
Okay, let me see what you have for August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Where did you work? Come on.
There were multiple residents, ma'am.
Well, you have to tell me so that he can answer. He said that you worked half a day that he didn't pay you for.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's say that's a full day. So that's $200.
Okay. See, he would email it on his work phone, and I'd follow the addresses there.
Well, then you would have it on your phone.
My short notes on this.
Just a second. Then you would have it on your phone.
It was his company phone. He took it back when he came to my house unannounced and told me that I was fired. Redeemed his truck. Got my tools out of his vehicle.
Okay, just a second.
I have my personal one that I talked.
What about the phone that you took from him?
No, that one's actually broke, so it's been with Mo for the past week.
Let me see the notes that you have that you took.
Yes, ma'am.
Fascinating.
It's my shorthand, ma'am.
How do I know what dates these are for?
It was all on his phone, ma'am.
Well, that's not him to have to prove, sir.
I wasn't able to prove anything when he took his phone back. I just had that's the notes when I was employed for him as I wrote down.
It's not helpful to me.
Yes, ma'am.
So far, the only thing that he's acknowledged is that he owes you a day's wages.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is $210. The other part of your complaint is a false restraining order against you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you file a restraining order against
did.
him? Do you have a copy of what you wrote in your restraining order?
I do.
I'd like to see it.
So what got me that restraining order is he called, made threats, and made
Was
threats.
this after you fired him?
It was.
Okay, so after you fired him, he called you.
Made threats.
Well, what did he say when he called you?
Just basically talking about I'm going to come to your house and everything.
He wanted money.
I guess, yeah.
He said, you didn't pay me.
Yeah.
Okay. You say you got a text message and voicemail from Jeremy threatening to come to my place of residence.
Yes.
Can I hear it?
Yeah. Do you want me to play it, or do you want to look at it?
I want to look at it.
Okay.
So Mr. Torres took your house. Did you call him threatening to come to his house?
I did.
You did?
With the police. It says it on these text messages, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to take his phone and those text messages.
There's more text. That's just the one where he said he'd send me my money.
That's the voicemail, if you want me to play it for you. Sometimes the transcription doesn't work.
Yeah.
You want me to play it?
Just.
Hey, bro. I definitely worked more than 9 hours for the last week that I worked for you. I'll be contacting my... Play with me. I'll show up at your house.
Yeah, that's a threat.
With the police.
Just a second. That's a threat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I've had more...
That's a threat.
I had more incidents before that as well.
May I say something, ma'am? He accused me of going into his gated community, slashing tires on his work vehicle. I stated that I was going to come to his house after, if you read my text, I said to him, hey, bro, I think I misunderstood your text message. If I did, my bad. If not, I'll show up at your house with the police. I never went to his house. I waited to see if he'd be the big man and just send me my money like he said he would.
I listened to the message, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
The message sounded threatening.
Did you read the rest of them?
I don't care. That message sounded threatening. Where does it say here that his tires were slashed?
In my mind, what else would it be?
But you have to understand that that's not what this says.
And later today.
I was financially struggling.
Well, you weren't living together at the time.
No, she would periodically come over. And
yeah, but you weren't living together at the time. So how would she find out that you were in financial trouble?
Jeremy DeTorres claims his former employer, Chad Young, owes for unpaid wages and filing a false restraining order.
Okay, that message alone, if he felt threatened because you were going to come to his house, and you not only said you were going to come to his house, but you used an expletive before you did that, which sounded threatening. This may be more benign, but that phone message was sufficient for him to file for a protective order against you.
Okay, why didn't he show up at the protective custody order?
I don't answer your questions.
No,
you don't necessarily.
Absolutely.
Some people don't pursue it because once it's done, it's done.
It wasn't done.
And once it's done,
this is the dismissal right here. Dismissal for the
No, I didn't show up. I understand he didn't show up, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm saying to you, I listened to your text message, and he had an absolute right to see.
Can you see where he's been calling each other? Because it's in the text
You're
messages.
suing him for money owed for wages and filing a false restraining order.
Okay.
You've proven that you worked an additional day for which he didn't pay you, which is $210. He has a counterclaim. Yeah. He says that you vandalized the tires on his car. The rest of it, I'm not dealing with, sir. You picked this employee. You don't then sue the employee if you don't like the job that they do. You fire them and you get somebody else to do the job. but you can't sue him because did the person who you did the job for sue you?
No, because I've got a really good reputation with my customers.
Because you fixed it. Because it wasn't done right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even up to that last day I said he worked for me, that job I had to go back to 2 weeks ago that they couldn't close on the house.
And next time you won't hire him. Yeah. Maybe other people won't either. But I want you to tell me about the tires. I want you to tell me what proof do you have that he had anything to do with your tires? When were the tires slashed, flattened?
So the police report was done Friday when he made the threats.
Friday, what date?
I got the date right here. I think it was
August 5th.
Yeah, so August 5th is when he did it.
August 5th is when
the police report was made for the threats.
For the threat, for the voicemail?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so it was the end of the day Friday, so court's closed for the weekend.
August 5th?
Yep. And then Monday, the 8th, I went outside to go to work. My tires were slashed in the end. At that point, restraining order so people can't come onto my my property.
Because you believed it was the plaintiff who was responsible. You believed you didn't have proof at the time.
Yes.
You didn't have proof.
Again, and even in my injunction, I knew all I needed was this police report to get the injunction, so I just put in my police report.
You're not talking about an injunction. You're talking about a restraining order.
Yeah, the restraining order. Yeah.
Okay.
I went to file the restraining. So in my restraining order, I put just my tires were flat. I did not put my tires were slashed at any point because I knew the police report was enough to get the restraining order.
Okay, your
so I
tires
didn't go
were
in
flat.
detail about my tires.
Okay, so in the police report, you have that your tires were flattened.
No, that wasn't on the police report because that didn't happen yet. The tire incident did not happen.
Okay.
That happened Friday. Monday morning, I went out in my vehicle to go to work. That's when I found them flat and slashed.
Did you file another police report?
That's when I went and filed the restraining order that day.
Okay, and in the application for restraining order, you said?
That my tires were flat, and that was it.
Yes, okay.
I didn't mention that they were slashed.
Correct.
So I don't know how he would know my tires were slashed if I didn't mention it on my restraining order.
I don't know. That's an interesting question. Mr. DeTorres. Mr. DeTorres, stop your paper fluttering.
Okay.
What made you think rather than just the air let out of them?
Because I read this police report and it has a mark right here saying, or the file that he did.
Show me. And make a circle.
Right here, damaged property is what I read. He checked that I damaged his property because this is written against me.
Mr. DeTorres, do you understand my question, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm nervous in the
Just a second. This has nothing to do with nerves, Mr. DeTorres.
Well, I had no sleep last night.
That has nothing to do with sleep.
As far as not being...
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
What I'm asking you, Mr. DeTorres, is where does it say here that his tires were slashed?
In my mind, somebody writing that against me, flattened tires, what else would it be? He lives in a gated community.
Well, that could be...
Where's the surveillance showing me that my leg injury, the way I walk, is very distinctive? Okay? If he's got proof that I slashed or flattened his tires, I said slashed. It's the same thing as flattened in my mind. That's the way I think. The way I read that, that's just how it came out of my mouth.
But you have to understand that that's not what this says.
Okay? It says that I damaged his property.
He said damaged his property, and you said slashed tires.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
How much were the tires?
$450.
Let me see the receipt.
I do not have a receipt because I pay cash for my tires.
Well, that's too bad. You better stop paying cash, sir. You can pay cash for tires.
Yeah.
But when you buy tires with cash and you want to sue for them, you get a receipt.
Yeah.
From the people. And if you know you're coming to court, you were coming to court today.
I went back to the tire shop and he's like, we just, we always do cash for all your vehicles. And
well, what do you mean cash for all your vehicles? That means you get a receipt. All right, your counterclaim's dismissed because you have no proof of anything. On the complaint, sir, I'm awarding you $210, which is 1 day's pay. Thank you very much. This case is over.
This court is adjourned.
The work just wasn't up to the quality that he promised he was going to offer.
It is what it is.
That's just his nature. That's always been his nature.
The judgment is what the judgment is. She felt like I was only awarded a day's pay, and that's what she gave me.
Keep doing what I do. That's all I can do every day.
Well, Sarah Rose, that is the perfect example of you're supposed to have proof when you come to court.
Yep. Standard of proof exists for a reason.
You know, I know that when I go someplace, and sometimes I pay cash. So even if you pay cash for something,
There's some
or Venmo,
record. Venmo
you're
is a good
supposed to
record.
get a receipt in the event that you want to use whatever you bought and use that fact that you purchased something in a subsequent lawsuit.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as sending a gift. If you send somebody a gift, you keep the receipt until you know that they got the gift. And you take it and you throw it away. It's just
good bookkeeping. It's good record keeping.
And he's a business guy.
Yeah,
he's a business guy. Didn't make sense to me, but clearly plaintiff was somebody who has.
Armando Rodriguez is suing his former tenant, Samuel Gastelum, for an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2035, Rodriguez versus Gastelum.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
What kind of a premises do you live in, sir?
It's a 4-bedroom house.
And I see here that you rent out some of the rooms in order to assist with your mortgage.
That's correct.
How many rooms do you rent out?
3.
And who lives in the other?
Right now it's Kathleen Meister, and then I have 2 other roommates.
And you use one room?
Correct.
When did you rent a room to the defendant?
It was January 22.
And what was the rent that you were charging him?
$750 a month.
When he came to you, did he have a dog?
No.
When did you move in?
About late January.
Give me a day.
22nd.
And you moved in alone?
Yes, ma'am.
Paid your rent on time?
Yes, ma'am.
February, paid your rent on time?
Yes, ma'am.
Lived there alone?
Yes, ma'am.
What about March?
Did I live there alone in March also? Yes, ma'am.
When did you get a dog?
I've had my dog.
No, when did you get a dog that you brought into the house?
April 22nd, 23rd.
So several months after you moved in? Is not an answer.
Yes, ma'am.
And before you moved the dog in, did you have a discussion with the plaintiff?
Yes, ma'am.
Just prior to moving in with the dog. And what was the discussion that you had with the plaintiff?
That if it was okay if I were to bring my dog that I had in Alaska, since I had him since he was about 6-7 weeks.
And where had he been in the last 2 months?
He was still in Alaska, staying with close friends, and I flew to Seattle, shipped my truck and all my belongings to Seattle, and drove here. From Seattle, my dog, the person who was watching him, drove from Alaska to Montana, and I had gone to Montana to pick him up.
So you asked Mr. Rodriguez if it was okay if you brought your dog?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he say?
Yes.
Did he say anything else?
He said, just clean
Now
up.
look at me.
He said,
Did he say anything else
clean
other
up
than...
after the dog, make sure that the dogs don't fight, and just take care of him.
Okay. Nothing about him staying out of the house?
He said he wouldn't prefer him to be around the house, but he would not. It would be okay for him to be in my room.
In your room?
Mm-hmm. The dog stayed with me in that room a few nights, and he knowingly knew about it.
No, I don't want to know what he knew. I want to know what your arrangement was. So your arrangement with him, according to that, you asked him if you could bring your dog. He said okay for the dog to stay outside, but could stay in your room.
He said he didn't want him in the living area. My dog could also be in the garage or...
In your room. And was everything okay in April when you brought the dog?
Yeah, everything was
What
fine.
about May?
May, I was looking for a new place. I was homeless because I had spent 5 days in jail.
Oh, I'm talking about before you went to jail, sir. Before you went to jail, because this case is about an assault, which is what the plaintiff is claiming. Plaintiff is claiming that you assaulted him in the home, and that took place on April 30th. That was shortly after your dog arrived.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the dog was the reason for the altercation.
A part of
because
the reason, but that's
in
how it started.
February, March, and up until April, the end of April, when the dog was there, I see no evidence here that there was any difficulty.
You're right.
Fair statement? Yeah. So that the problem arose when the dog came. Now, this woman's name is Kathleen. She's interspersed in both the complaint and the answer in this case. She had a cat. Is not an answer.
Yes, ma'am.
He had a cat. And it was a house cat.
Yes, ma'am.
Plaintiff has a dog.
A few dogs.
And they live in the house.
Yes, they stay in the garage and in the backyard, yes.
Garage and backyard, do they stay in the house?
They do not go inside that.
Okay, so his dogs stay outside, and he said to you, according to you, your dogs can stay outside in the garage and in your room.
Yes.
In April, did your dog get out of your room or into the house?
Yes.
Yes. On what date?
April 30th, because I was allowing him inside to go to my room.
On April 30th, the dog was where?
In the backyard, but I was bringing him inside to come to my room.
You were bringing him from outside to come into your room. I haven't asked him. He says in his papers that the dog was supposed to remain outside. You were bringing him inside to your room.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it is your claim. And you also had at least a couple of months where you left the dog in Alaska.
With
right?
people I trust.
I don't care people who you trust or not. If you needed an emotional support animal, the emotional support animal has to travel with you. So don't show me a certificate. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
By the way, did that certificate that you have come from a psychiatrist?
No.
No. Did it come from a psychologist?
No.
Did it come from any doctor who was treating you?
There was a doctor's note, yes.
Was a doctor who was treating you?
Yes.
Yes. Not a psychiatrist?
Not a psychiatrist, no.
Not a psychologist?
Not a psychologist.
And you took this note and you had to send it to somebody over the internet?
Yes.
And then they sent you a certificate?
Yes, and with an ID.
That's what I got. Okay, so now you're bringing the dog on April 30th from the backyard into the house, and?
He attempts to grab the dog.
No. Is the dog on a leash?
No, he's very well.
Just a second. Is the dog on a leash?
No.
Were you holding the dog by the collar?
Yes.
And now you're taking the dog from outside to inside. What did he say to you?
No dogs in the house.
Because that's what he had said to you before. You can have your dog, but no dogs in the house. I want to tell you something. That's what I believe. So he said no dogs in the house, and you said to him,
I'm going to bring my dog into my room.
But when you asked him if you could bring the dog to the house, there is no question in my mind that he said to you, bring the dog to the house, but the dog doesn't come into the house.
He stayed in my room a few nights prior to that.
I don't
He had
care.
already
Listen to me.
approved
That's what the arrangement was, sir.
Okay.
The arrangement was not what you told me before. The arrangement was with him. Yes, you can bring the dog to the house. I will let you do that. But the dog has to stay either in the garage or outside like my dogs.
Okay.
And you said, in effect, screw you. I'm bringing my dog, and I'm bringing my dog into my room. You're the tenant. That was the agreement. You can have the dog, but the dog must not be in the house. That's what your landlord told you. You brought the dog from Alaska, and at the very beginning, you brought the dog into your room.
Mm-hmm.
When had you decided that you were going to breach the agreement with him?
The very first night I went to receive my dog, he stayed at the house inside my room with me.
So the very first night that you brought him, you decided to breach the agreement that
He
you
had knowingly said it was okay.
Did you tell him it was okay?
Never. Back.
Scroll
quite
to
a
wherever
while.
you have to scroll. Scroll down to the creation. I don't care. I have all day here. Nobody is hungry.
I'm a
Still
little
have
hungry.
2 more cases to do before lunch. Everybody gets a little testy, including me.
I don't have the text. I do not have the text.
Yeah, good. That's what I thought. Okay. It wasn't on the 30th that the dog got loose in the house. It was sometime before that, maybe a day or so before that. On the 30th was a day, sir, that you got locked out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
It's
Your
not
Honor.
an answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And what time of the day was it that you got locked out of the house?
2 o'clock, after middle afternoon, late afternoon.
And according to what I read, you went to the back of the house to let yourself into the house, and you got into an altercation with Kathleen. Absolutely, she shouldn't have put her hands on and slapped you because you were fresh. Because you wouldn't be fresh to me, right?
Fresh?
Fresh. That's what you say to a child. Fresh. How old are you?
65.
How old are you?
25.
That's fresh.
Armando Rodriguez claims his former tenant, Samuel Gastelum, is responsible for damages from an assault. Samuel says he was the one assaulted and falsely arrested.
Now, you got into an altercation with Kathleen.
Not quite, Your Honor.
Well, tell me what happened.
I had been outside, I went out to the garage, and I was playing a time-sensitive game on my Xbox. So I was going back to the room, and I knocked on the garage door. No one answered, knocked on it a few times, pounded. Then I went back around and knocked on the sliding glass door a few times, one of the few times. Finally, Kathleen comes up and answers the door. At that point, I've been out there for about 10 minutes. So I'm upset. I'm like, who locked me out? Who locked the door? She gets completely defensive. She says, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. And I'm like, I'm asking who it was, because Armando and I had discussed.
Because you were on a time-sensitive
Yes, ma'am.
video game.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
So you were on a time-sensitive video game.
Something
How old are you?
25 years old.
Okay, so now you're on a time-sensitive video game and somebody either on purpose or accidentally locked the door, and you think it's Kathleen.
No, I did not accuse anyone. Again,
Did you?
Earlier, by Armando.
Just a second. Did you have a key to the house?
On my...
No. Did you have...
I had a front door key, not to the garage door, not to the sliding door.
But you had a front door key.
Yes, Your Honor, but there's a gate. There's a big fence, and I didn't have a key to the gate that was locked.
You couldn't get into the house even with your front door key.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, after you had a conversation with her, there was no physicality between the two of you.
Not at that moment. But once Armando came around the corner, he's like, it was me who locked you out. So me and him...
Now, just a second. He said, it was me that locked you out. Did he say he did that on purpose, or was
it was an accident, is what
did he
said.
say? Okay, so he said it was me that locked you out. It was an accident.
It wasn't the first time.
It's not.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's yes. First, second, I've locked my children out of the house many times, sometimes on purpose,
I'm not his
sometimes
child.
by accident.
I'm his roommate.
It doesn't make any difference. So he said to you, it was an accident. And you said to him,
It's happened before.
And he said to you,
those were accidents also.
Okay, and he said those were accidents also.
Yes.
And you said to him...
I said you need to be more attentive, more aware. If someone had just walked out and left the door unlocked, you should probably go and see if anyone's out there before you turn around and lock the door.
And he said?
He said he apologized.
So he said, I apologize.
Yes.
Okay, what's next?
Throughout that whole conversation, me and him are arguing
Okay,
back and
but
forth.
at the end, he said, I'm sorry. He said, I apologize.
It's not so clear-cut. It's not
Well, it's at the end of this back and forth. You should have been more careful. You should look to see who's at the door. You've done it before. I'm sorry. It was an accident. I apologize. Now I haven't apologized. And
in
next.
the middle of that altercation, Kathleen kept butting in. She said, you don't talk to me like that. You don't talk to me like that. I said, I wasn't even talking to you. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm talking to Armando. I said, mind your own business. She said, oh, you don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. I said, mind your own business. She said, say that to me one more time. I said, mind your own business. She walks across the hall and she slaps me across the face, and Armando grabs her hand right after she smacks me. And instead of retaliating aggressively or any type of thing, I call the police. Immediately call the police. And while we're waiting there for the police, that's when I get the apology from Armando. That's when he's like, okay, let's make a deal. Let's try to work this out before the police get there. The police get there, they ask me what had happened.
And you say that this older woman slapped you because you were fresh.
The face.
Because you were fresh.
No, because
she shouldn't have put her hands on and slapped you, right?
Fresh?
Fresh. That's what you say to a child. Fresh. You were being fresh. And she should not have put her hands on you. Would I have called the police about that? Maybe.
Except I am not a child, Your
just
Honor.
a sec.
I'm not a child. I'm not related to these people.
I just said to you, you were being fresh. How old are you?
65.
How old are you?
25.
That's fresh. That's fresh, because first you accused her of locking you out.
I didn't accuse her.
Yeah. Okay, so after she slapped you, the police arrived, they left. She said, she slapped you, yes. You have marks, you have cuts, you have bruises, you have abrasions. No, they left. Well, what did you expect when you called the police for them to arrest her? What did you want them to do, sir?
Was I supposed to retaliate? How was I supposed to retaliate? Was I supposed to hit her back?
Just a second, no.
Okay, then what was I supposed to do?
I'm not telling you what to do.
Okay.
I'm just asking you, sir, did you expect them, when you called the police, to arrest Kathleen because she slapped you?
No, I expected there to be consequences for her assaulting me.
What? So
I don't know what
did
the
you think?
consequences
So
were.
what did you think that they should do?
Whatever they feel was right. Whatever is justice.
Okay, now let's move on. So now the police are gone, and?
I go speak to Armando. I asked why he sacrificed his integrity for lying for Kathleen, for saying that she didn't slap him, because he told the police he witnessed no such event. He didn't see nothing, even though he was standing right there, grabbed her hand. Kathleen says she didn't do it. And the police came up to me before they left. They said, they're telling me something else. I just don't believe you. I just like, okay, well, what else can I do? I go to Armando and I'm like, why would you sacrifice your integrity? Why would you lie to the police? Why would you let another roommate physically assault me and just no consequences whatsoever? And at that point is when I tried to bring my dog inside and just go straight to my room.
Just a second. So at that time, after this hot spot is over.
It got heated again.
Got heated again. Your reaction was childish, and you said, I'm going to get my dog that I was told not to bring in the house, and I'm going to bring my dog in the house.
I was going to my...
Just a second. I don't care if you were going to Pluto. Your reaction, I'm going outside and I'm going to bring my dog inside. He'll let you bring the dog to the house, but the dog can't come in the house, stays outside with his dogs. There's only one animal in the house, and that's Kathleen's house cat. That's it. So you went to bring your dog from outside to in the house.
Yes, Your Honor.
In violation of the agreement that you had with your landlord. After the police had come, I just want you to realize what's going on.
Oh,
You know, I just want you to realize that they don't actually keep me here because I'm 5'6" and gorgeous. I understand what happened when you were disappointed that Kathleen had slapped you like a child because you were fresh. And she's not your mother, and she had no right, even your mother doesn't have a right to put their hands on you.
Correct.
But you got slapped, not injured, no broken jaw, no broken skin. Police didn't see anything because if they did, they would have arrested somebody. And they left. And you were royally miffed. Because you got locked out of the house for which she apologized, you missed your time-sensitive video game. Now, I'm not sure what that is, because I'm not a 25-year-old idiot that plays video games during the day.
Armando Rodriguez is accusing his former roommate, Samuel Gastelum, of breaking their rental agreement and assaulting him. Samuel claims he was falsely arrested after Armando lied to the police.
Now, several things had happened that day, right? You got locked out and you were playing a time-sensitive video game.
Yes, Your Honor.
And because you got locked out of the house for which she apologized, you missed your time-sensitive video game. Now, I'm not sure what that is, because I'm not a 25-year-old idiot that plays video games during the day. When I was 25 years old, I actually worked. I did, I actually worked. I know that may seem foreign to you, but I did actually work. And so after all of this altercation took place, you said, now I'm going to show him. Now I'm going to bring my dog into the house. And then there was another altercation. Second one.
Yes.
That's the one we're talking about. By the way, maybe I'm being terribly unkind to you, sir. How do you support yourself?
I work.
For whom?
Pretty foreign.
Once a week?
Yes, Your Honor. And in my free time,
What do you
I like to
cultivate?
play video
What do you
games.
cultivate?
Marijuana, cannabis.
How long have you worked for them?
Since March, so about 5 months.
Prior to that, you were in Alaska.
Prior to January, I was in Alaska. And before March, before getting the job at the cultivation facility for cannabis, I was helping my uncles do concrete. So working isn't very foreign to me, as you might see.
Prior to March, you were working with your uncles in concrete.
Yes,
Where?
Your Honor. In Victorville, in California.
You were working, you were working for your uncle prior to March, getting a job as a cultivator. And what I want to know is, how long had you been separated from your emotional support dog?
I spent 4 months away from him. And those 4 months were from January to April. For finding a
January,
job.
February, March, April. And what were you doing in Alaska?
I was born and raised in Alaska.
Alaska is not a born, that's not a job, sir. What were you doing in Alaska?
I was, for the last 6 months of my time in Alaska, I was a bud tender.
Okay, tell me what happened after the dog incident.
Well, the dog comes in. He says that he's not going to follow house rules anymore. He says as of right now, he's going to do what he wants to do. So he just gets the dog from the backyard and he comes inside the house. And I feel that it's my responsibility to enforce the house rules. So I physically grab his dog and I move the dog from inside the house to the backyard. That happens once. He gets the dog and then he physically puts him back in the house.
Where in the house?
This is, you could say, the kitchen area. So now I basically attempt to repeat what I did the first time. So I physically grab the dog a second time and I'm now physically taking him out, at which point he gets from behind me and he puts me into a chokehold and I black out. I come to, I look for my phone, I find my phone, dial 911, police show up like in maybe 2 or 3 minutes and I'm still trying to get...
And that's the assault that you are referring to today. Did the EMS check you out?
I was taken to the hospital.
May I see the report?
Yeah, I got a report and then I have the bills associated with with...
Was Kathleen a witness to this?
She saw...
No,
like,
don't tell me what she saw. Was she a witness to any part of that? Did the yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you...
When they were arguing about the dog.
The first time or the second time? Or you don't know whether...
I don't really know.
Were you a witness to any of the physical confrontation that resulted in Mr. Rodriguez going to the hospital?
I knew that they...
Don't tell me what you knew.
Okay.
It's what you saw.
Okay, what I saw was Armando trying to put the dog back outside, because he's a big pit bull, right? And then he would put him out, and then Samuel would bring him back in. And then the last time, Armando was putting him back outside, and Samuel came behind Armando. And what I did was I left and went and called the police, because I was afraid he was going to get hurt.
All right, sir. Now tell me your version of those events.
Could I show her statement from the previous court?
No, I want you to first tell me your version of the events.
So I let Apollo inside. My dog's name is Apollo, and he's going to grab Apollo to let him out. And we're both kind of grabbing Apollo, pulling him, we're both kind of fighting over him a little bit. As I'm pulling him inside more, Armando starts grabbing me. And so we get into this altercation, and we're like wrestling back and forth.
Just a second. He's trying to get your pit bull outside, and at the same time he's grabbing you? Is that the...
No, we were both grabbing the dog.
So you were trying to keep the dog inside, and he was trying to put the dog outside?
I was trying to take him to my room, yes. Take him.
You were trying to take him to your room. He was trying to put him outside.
Yes.
And?
As we're both kind of fighting for the dog, he grabs me. He lets go of the dog and then grabs me.
How did he grab you?
He grabs me by the arm, and then he like starts tugging a little bit, and so we're wrestling. We just start wrestling, and it gets a little bit more violent. And I go to restrain him, and he's hitting me. He's hitting me with his arms. He's trying to scratch me, and I just restrained him until I felt not threatened no more. I released him. I get up. I grab my dog. I go to the room. I call the police.
Mm-hmm. Do you have your medical records that day?
They would not take me. They didn't.
Not they would not take you. Do you have your medical records for that day?
I have my arrest report that says apparently they didn't.
May I see the arrest report, please?
They refused to take pictures.
Don't tell me what they didn't do. I can read. Do you have medical insurance, sir?
No.
None. Okay, so you had an emergency room CT scan that was $8,640.62. The other bill, which was $518. This is the emergency room, which was $1,109. Okay, well, that takes us over this court's limit jurisdictionally. Now, you, sir, subsequently had a hearing with regard to this case. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you testify, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you testify, sir?
I did.
At the end of that hearing, was there a restraining order granted or not?
It was granted.
For how long? Do you have a copy of that?
I have a copy.
It was a year.
So a judge, like me, probably not as good looking, after hearing, so I don't have to hear it, all of the evidence, the judge found that there was more evidence than not that you assaulted the plaintiff and granted the plaintiff an order of protection for...
A thing of beauty, the literary piece included in the syllabus of CBSA.
The central idea of the story is a Greek legend that involves the characteristics of Endymion and Psyche.
In a thing of beauty explanation, the poet tells about the various contribution of beauty in our lives and how we can find beauty in the mundane things around us, all that God has created as energy and beauty hidden in them.
Identifying that beauty helps us to believe the goodness of the object of creature, and that makes happy for return within.
The poet also goes on to tell us we can understand from the thing of beauty simply class 12 that the beauty of anything can never fade us at an eternal.
John Keats, the famous romantic poet of the English literature, has penned the poem A Thing of Beauty, but the actually poet conveys the beautiful thing that gives us rise, delight and happiness.
The basis of the poem that by Keats as mentioned in class 12, the English of Things, beauty summary, legend involving Endymion, a young shepherd, and Cynthia, the moon goddess. Endymion once had a vision of Cynthia, and after that he made a resolution, look after, seek her, and find her.
That is why the poet starts the poem with the line of class 12 English Thing of Beauty summary is a Greek of legend involving Endymion.
The thing in the beauty of class 12 will also let you know the what takes from the beauty.
The thing of the beauty class 12 will also know let you know the poet the beauty lies and the beholder. The poet goes on the mention to the number of the poet taste the forest is also a feast for her eyes.
As we further the explanation of thing beauty, that we will find poet mentioning the tales of mentioning mighty warriors who have gave the life for the sake of their country. On their noble reason, he finds beauty in that too. A summary of the thing of beauty will be incomplete without mentioning that the poet thinks that all the beautiful things are God's gifted for us, pouring unto us from the heaven. As the class 12, I think he is very, very poor. You get to know that the beautiful things are similar in the flana.
As we flana further brought into the explanation of a thing of beauty, we will find the poet mentioning the tale of the mighty warriors who gave their life for the sake of life. The main focus of the poem is literally
these things of the beauty should be seen. These things of the beauty, it delivers the message about the presence of things of beauty in this world. These things of the beauty should have been seen, flana. The things of beauty in the poem are the sun, the moon, the clear scene, flana.
The grandeur lies in the noble deeds for the flana mankind of the young Shung, their nation of the Shung. The spire of the flower band and Shun refers to the things of beauty Shun.
In the poem, what does the flowery band refer to how and does it bind us to it? Answer, the flower tandy slandy refers to the things of beauty. The poet says that every day, this is very day, this is big day, flana day.
And the flower band refers to the things of beauty in the poem of cooling the JDB Olympiad and the sea represent twist in both words. This is mainly used to grab attention.
John Keats has the class 12. A thing of beauty summary comes to an end. In a nutshell, a thing of beauty summary is all about the values of the beautiful things. An endless fountain of immortality. This poem, Flana, Gloomy Times. Also, this poem has a main motive to provide peace to the reader.
In the end, we provide you to subscribe our channel and must like the video.
Yes.
And comment and good comments.
And good comments. This
we will see you in the next video. Allah.